What was before is now, and what is now will be in the future. I think. That.
This is the Imperial Scrolls of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I'm Jay Baxtron.
And I am Jeff Burns.
And we are going to be bullshitting about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. We continue into the midst of an RPG side quest here, where we incrementally fiddle with an old school RPG, start to finish, with the assistance of video game literature of antiquity. We are currently busting out our whoopin' sticks on Chaos and Square's 1990 release of Final Fantasy on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The current accompanying game ag for us on this little journey is the official pack-in instruction manual for the game, an 80-page tome entitled The Explorer's Handbook, and the link to a PDF of that will be in the show notes for the duration of the quest. Emulation disclosures to kick us off here, so you know the tools with which we are undertaking our quest to defeat chaos. Jay, how are you playing?
Definitely emulating this bad boy with through NES-topia with the standard USB controller NES.
Jab?
Also NES-topia, and I'm using just keyboard controls.
I am still rolling with the OG hardware deal, and my trusty NES Advantage piped in through Uncle Ted's NES satellite to facilitate it. Please rate and review the pod if you enjoy our shit. It makes us feel really, really great about ourselves and the world around us. Let us begin this dropping back in to our quests with where we left off last time. Last we checked with Doom, Jab, and Todd, they were toppling the Earth Fiend, Lich, and restoring light to the first of the orbs. I turned this thing on after like a month hiatus or so, and literally had no clue whatsoever what I should be doing next or where it might be. Yeah, I mean, I'm like even at the start of this play for this episode here, I was really getting to the point where I might as well just be playing the game anew. Like I mentioned via the text chat last night, I was like, I have no clue what is next. Like none. I have no fucking idea. I have no idea where to go.
That is great considering all the times you said you guys have played this. I love that. That's great.
I played it a little bit more than Josh, especially as of recently. Like I end up playing it like once every 2 years, I think. But these old RPGs, like without a fucking quest log, like you can turn the game on and nothing. Like,
yeah, that's bad. I mean, it's funny. Like, it's such a, we like Jab and I talk about it all the time. He can cite things from it, and I can follow, and we can have conversations about it. But like, realistically, actually playing it all the way through, man. I mean, fucking the 90s, probably. Maybe even mid 90s. We're talking. Like, I don't even think late 90s. I mean,
because you would have been like high school and shit. Right. Like you're smoking dope and trying to bang girls. You're not playing Final Fantasy
for sure.
That's what I was doing.
Nintendo 64, like that's
right. Moving on.
Yeah.
You never played. You had the opportunity to play Final Fantasy 7 too, and you never did. And that you're about to talk shit about it, and everyone's gonna. All the fans are gonna write into you, and they're gonna make fun of you. So if you're ready for that, then say what you're gonna say.
It didn't appeal to me. Yeah, part of it was literally being on PlayStation was like a really clunky thing to me. Like I always felt PlayStation was a very, very clunky system.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, those polygons aren't great. I can understand why you might feel that way, but you missed a gem, man. It's a great game. I had started a playthrough on the I bought it on my Xbox, but then I had shit going on, so I just like forgot about it. But I do want to finish it. It's a great game.
And it's like a full remaster on there, right? I mean,
that's the remake. I got just like the old school. It's just the PlayStation game.
Interesting. Yeah, word. Well, as we're supposed to do, I broke out the Explorer's Handbook and referred to it, and like that's literally how I got back on track. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I saw on there Crescent Lake is what's next on the docket, and that it is in the southeast quadrant of the map. And to reach it, you have to sail through Nerix Canal and out the open sea, wrapping around the southern continent to get there. So that is where I headed, and I'm assuming you guys did as well. And that brings us to Crescent Lake to talk about that municipality. You have to dock at the port, a short jaunt to the east, and then from there you trundle through a forest loaded with trolls, bulls, cobras, and scorpions to reach the town, which is tucked inside of a, wait for it, crescent-shaped lake that forces that forces you to take a roundabout route to get into the place. And the commercial district of the town is relatively small and pretty customarily designed, I would say. There's a little bit of water, but all the usual paths and bushes and shit. There is a cool bridge that's unique, I would say, on the north side of town between the weapon and magic shops. And then there's also a new thing here. There's flower tiles that I don't believe I've seen anywhere else, like the just decoration stuff. So a little bit of effort, but as we've spoke about before, like the towns are all just kind of one note to me.
Yeah.
Visually, anyways. All the usually offerings on the Glorious Capitalism Monuments front are here. We have the inn at 200 gold per stay. We have an item shop that is rocking with heals, piers, cabins, and houses. There is a clinic, and I think I want to say it's 400, 800
it is.
maybe?
I actually got killed for the first time on this playthrough, so.
Okay.
Okay.
There's 4 headstones out back of it. And I guess those are just peeps that the clinic botched their witchery on. I don't know, but I thought that was a funny design choice to just have like a small one too. It's like, we don't fuck up often, but
or maybe it's people who came there wanting to get a revive and didn't have enough gold, and they were like, we can all use this plot.
We offer an alternative, more inexpensive package, death out back if you want that. I don't know.
What do you offer for 200 gold?
That's fucking great, yeah.
I mean, what the graveyards were by churches traditionally, so
sure,
and
right.
Nintendo's not going to put a church in a game, so
right.
Out back from the fucking clinic as that.
That's great. The armor stand they specialize in silver items here. They have the armor at 7,500 gold, the shield, helmet, and gauntlets all at 2,500 per, and then they have the buckler at 2,500 bones as well. And the buckler is something the frat bros could actually add to their costume party get-ups of the cap, glove, silver bracelet combo that I was rolling with when I came here for a smidge of extra absorb points. But it would mean I'd have to... So I was saving that silver gear for after the class change. I had to do this a bunch.
Oh my god!
On this episode, where I'm just literally like, if I don't throw this thing away that I want to keep, I just can't. I can't optimize my situation. So I literally had to throw a bunch of silver gear away. I was going to equip. I mean, again, money is so irrelevant. When I want to say I'm at like fucking 300,000 something as far as what my gold reserve is. So who cares? But it is still just like the little. The little optimization fucking fairy inside me is like really, really sad every time I have to do that playing this fucking thing. But
so there's not much I can buy here since like the white mage spells don't work, and all of my armor is silver or better. So it's kind of just like meh. Like I bought like a quake spell for my mage, but otherwise, nothing.
That buckler, you didn't drop that buckler. Is there not like? And this is I don't remember because I'm not using any mages here, and like I said, the last time I played this was the 90s probably, so I don't remember if that's the case. But the appeal of the buckler thing, I mean, I literally every time I roll into an armor shop or whatever, any sort of armor acquisition situation, I go to the little chart and I'm like, can the fucking bros use this? Like, oh my god, it's pathetic enough of a thing that they can. Great, So I assume the buckler also can be used by the mages.
Oh,
no? Oh,
I'm like, considering I don't know what you're talking about, that means no, they cannot be used.
Okay,
that's a pretty good indicator. No, the buckler can only be used by the red mage, the more martial of the mages.
Okay, copy that. So what is a buckler exactly? Is that?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like a smaller shield that like.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's like a maybe like a. Don't quote me on this. I think it's like an 18-ish inch circumference, and the idea is more, I think.
So like a fucking a tea plate.
I don't know what that is, but I think the idea is I think it's more for like duelists. If I might be making this up, but I think like the idea of it is to like. Keep it close to like deflect some blows, but also like the main purpose is like you actually like it's handheld and you just like stick it way out in front of your opponent's face, and that kind of like restricts their field of view, and then you kind of like stab at their legs and stuff. I think.
Okay.
Interesting.
That definitely sounds like something the fucking bros would engage in. I can buy into that.
It's like Yeah, like rapier, dueling, riposte kind of shit.
Sure. Okay, well, the weapon store also is silver shit minded. They have the dagger at 800, the sword at 4,000, the hammer at 2,500, and the axe at 4,500. And of course, nothing cooking for the bros at present there. I assume, I mean, you were already silvered out, Jay, so I'm assuming this was also just a dead zone for you.
Yep, sadly.
I don't even know if I don't think I bought anything here. I think I actually might have snagged a buckler for the red mage. I do want to say a couple of other things real quick. First off, I nailed the buckler definition. 45 centimeters used for dueling, 45 centimeters.
Well, hold on. I need you to convert the centimeters to inches.
17.7. Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to switch myself to metric because I'm in engineering now, and there's no fucking reason to not switch to metric in general, but especially if you're working in science, just be metric. So 17.7 inches, and yes, it's a small thing that you kind of like hold out and use for dueling. That's the first thing. Second thing is there's always a game, or in every Final Fantasy game that I've played at least, and I guess I'm talking about, full disclosure, the games that I've played are 1, 7, and then the fans out there, these aren't actually real Final Fantasy games, but they say Final Fantasy on them, so I'm going to list them. Final Fantasy Legend 1 and Final Fantasy Legend 2. There always seems to be one town in these games that is just like loaded with all the silver shit.
Right. Well, there's like as far as like, I can pretty quickly get myself to like narrative justifications as to, silver is like, it's clearly like a silver mine is a very, very specific one. It's often, elves are usually minded towards it, like for whatever fucking reason. Whenever everyone, like, it's actually a funny idea that we've never discussed. But whatever the fucking the people that sat around a table at the beginning of whatever time the invention of like common fantasy
tropes.
Yeah, tropes. That's the word. Yeah, whenever those were invented, I think that was like one of the first bullet points. like elves like silver, that's what we're saying. We're rolling with that, So like it's it's often, it has something to do with like an elven encampment of some kind or town or whatever. And then also it's obviously it's a valuable resource that has both metallurgy, would that be the right word? Metallurgical value, as well as gem or like, monetary
precious
value.
Metal.
Right, yeah. So like it has this dual use that I don't think you really get from any other metal, So I think that is probably a big part of why it is like always a significant thing, and like they feel like they can like concentrate it because it's like a reason that humans, elves, whatever it would be, would like literally settle down here, right. Because this source exists for this metal, so I can buy it.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy role play. Having said that, all blacksmiths at home don't make weapons out of silver or gold. They don't make good weapons. Gold, I think silver is a little better, but gold especially is very soft and doesn't keep an edge and will just break. You're better off using it in your IC components.
Okay. Dude, that's exactly the way it is in Minecraft. Actually, I go mining and you find diamond materials and it's like, oh great, I can like make a diamond sword or a diamond pickaxe, and it lasts so short of amount of time. You're like, what the hell, man? Better off trading it for something else.
Yeah, diamond is on that Mohs scale of hardness. Diamond.
I'm sorry, gold. I didn't mean to say diamond.
I was going to say, yeah, we use diamond to mine. Like we use
diamond
through rocks.
Yeah, diamond is a 10 on Mohs hardness scale.
I mean gold for sure. Gold was like, because I did that the first time and I was like, what? This was such a waste of these materials.
Well, that's exactly my point. Like silver, like gold is more valuable from like a precious metal standpoint, but it is useless as far as any sort of making anything out of it. It's so malleable, So yeah, that's like silver's kind of in the sweet spot. Like this fucking stupid thing that I have been wearing since like 2003 on my neck is silver, and like I didn't buy it. I got it from fucking a work thing, and like I didn't know. I wasn't even sure it was silver, or I had no idea if it was silver. I shouldn't even say if I was sure. So like there was like a period in like maybe the first third of that 20 years I've been wearing it, damn near, where like I was like, I was worried about getting like if you wear fucking just steel that long or metal that long, it can fucking leave marks on your skin. Right. Like when I was cleaning it, I'm not sure, whatever. But like, yeah, I've been wearing this thing for 20 years. I clean it with fucking all sorts of fucking things over the years to like keep it fucking shiny and shit. And like, it still looks great. It hasn't fucked my body up. So like, silver is an impressive metal in that regard. I'd never take this thing off, and and I don't have cancer yet. So
yeah, nobody has cancer yet. And then you do,
Right. Okay, so that's the weapon store. We have magic joints here as well. They are pushing level 6 arcane tech at 20k a pop. And the white magic options are soft, and this is, you guessed it, it cures stone status. There is exit, which takes you outside any dungeon, and this is a wizard-only thing. You can't do it until after the class change. And Fog 2 raises defense of the whole party, and then Invisible 2 also raises defense of the whole party, so what the fuck? What's the... I don't know. I mean, they don't give you the numbers here, and clearly we could wiki those, I guess, to find out which one's better. I did not do that because frat bros, but it's weird as fuck that you have 2 spells that do the same thing on the same level. That's a weird design choice, I would say, to say the least.
I don't know, like, what's the... I mean, I've been using the guide because I don't give a shit. But, so do you want me to read from the guide? I'm looking at it right now.
Does it explain a reason to choose one or the other? Yes,
a little bit. So it does have the thing listed as best buys or not.
Okay.
And Fog 2 is described as all the warrior's defensive armor rating is increased by 12 points.
Okay, that's very specific.
So however the armor rating affects your damage reduction, you get an additional 12 points. The mag does not suggest that you buy it.
Okay.
Although I only get 3 spells with a red wizard, and there are 3 spells that I can buy, so I will be buying it. But Invisible 2 is described as hidden from view. All the warriors are subject to a 40% decrease in enemy attack.
Okay. So, all right. So one's so you said 12 points of absorb, you're saying on Fog,
No,
right?
I said 12 points of armor rating.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I think that's the same thing, basically. It's probably one is the evade percentage and one is probably absorb, is my guess.
Yeah.
That's my... Because evade is a percentage, so invisible is speaking in a percentage basis. So that's got to be applicable to that. And then if it's 12 points, it's not going to. I assume anyways, it's not going to be the percentage thing. So that's my only guess. Jace,
I don't know.
Which one did you buy?
Let us take a look to confirm for sure. I'm like, wait a minute, which ones do I have? So I definitely bought Invisible and Fog because I wasn't sure.
Fog,
what's that?
Invisible 2 and Fog 2.
Yeah, Invisible 2 and Fog 2 for sure. Bought them both. Mm-hmm. I needed to save space for
exit.
For exit when I can get it in soft. I have not had a reason to buy that yet. Maybe
you got potions for that, man. Who cares?
Yeah, that was kind of my thought.
I mean, I would say it probably this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jab, but I would guess that the strategy guide suggests you buy soft, right?
It's funny. I don't know why. I don't know who made this design choice, but it's a bad one. They do not recommend that you buy soft, but there's 4 spells to buy, and they only list 2 of them as best buys. So obviously, Exit gets one, basically one of the most powerful spells in the game. And Invisible 2, also, I believe, one of the most powerful spells in the game. So those are recommended as best buys, but neither of the others. So
I kind of like that they don't
Yeah, I guess I can see it.
Yeah, they don't. They're not building. Even in the strategy guide,
tell you exactly what to do.
Right. Yeah. Give you a little bit of autonomy. I like that. Mm-hmm. I don't even. I haven't looked at that in a long time. When you mentioned just a moment ago that they even have like a recommended buy section like that, as opposed. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't think about that, I guess, but that's it makes me that's just like we talk a lot about like what steered us to make what decisions as children and yada yada yada, and the fact that that's there, like that's clearly like there's just 0 chance we deviated from whatever it told us.
Definitely listening
that's
to
crazy.
That,
right.
So, like I don't know what I'm doing for the 3rd spell, but I know what I'm doing for the 2.
Yeah, then we're gonna fucking roll the dice maybe, but I'm not doing anything this thing not doing anything, going against this thing in any way, shape, or form. Like I trust it implicitly, I guess is what I'm getting at here. You know?
Yeah, I was like 7 years old. I was a complete fucking idiot. So I gotta listen.
See, my thought process, like other than making sure I saved a spot for exit and that there's potions for soft, was like if you get fog 2 and invisibility 2, then theoretically, like you should have the best way to defend against those type of attacks. Whether it's
stack those and be working
right. And like the funny thing is, like, yes, that's a really really logical way to think about RPG spellcasting. Like that's a really really smart from a modern perspective. Great idea. It would never, like, trying to stack spells in this game, I have zero faith that works. Like I just have zero faith in the math actually reflecting that ultimately, even though it may be very well possible. And by the descriptions we just parsed, I would say you're absolutely correct. Like the fact that you are essentially affecting in the maximum way both numbers that guide your armor situation, like the idea that you affect both of them, like yes, you would think that like doing that and stacking them for like boss battles would be like highly effective. Never occurred to me or Jab. I don't ever even remember having kind of that mentality as children. So
didn't think like that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea if it works, and I guess I'd be curious. Please let us know in the event that you feel that it does, because that is a cool thing that it never even occurred to me to try in this game because
give it a shot. I mean, I pulled up my handy dandy spells that do not work Google search for Final Fantasy, and Fog 2 is not listed. Nor, I mean, Invisible 2, I think we even knew that was a kick-ass spell.
Right.
I don't know if I ever like ran the numbers and collected the data, so to say, to see like how effective it is, but it seems to be effective, I guess. I guess I'm just making that up. But it's not, fucking Fog 2 is not listed as a spell that does not work, so Jay's idea of stacking those seems viable.
Maybe fantastic, yeah.
We'll have to see, because right now, with the way the freaking leveling works with the red mage, like my white mage obviously has those skills, but my red mage does not have. I now have, like as of the end of this episode leveling, 2 spaces on level 6 that I could go get something for my red mage, but previously I have not been able to actually get spells for my red mage there. So we'll see. TBD.
Oh, you're saying you've tried to buy spells with the red mage at this store?
Yeah, and haven't been able to before.
Okay. Yeah, I think. I mean, honestly, I don't even. I don't have. I don't have the. I'm not certain about it, but I mean, level 6, I would guess, is where you're talking about the red mage, like probably not being able to get in too much, if at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
why I'm like, dude,
red wizard territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the red wizard, I would guess level 6 is probably where you start to see like, nope, you're just never gonna be able to get that spell, right? I mean, they can't. Can they use up to level 8 spells?
No, they can use up to level 7, and I think it's only like 2 of the level 7s.
Okay.
Actually, even for black magic, it might only be 1.
Okay. Yeah.
I know they get lit 3. I know that, but after that, I'm not positive.
Okay, word. Well, speaking of lit 3, there is a black magic store here as well, and lit 3 is one of the options there. And this is, or rather, that spell effect is mad lightning damage raining down on all enemies. There is rub here, and that's an insta-frag on a single enemy, but I feel like, is that broken?
Not broken, but never works.
I was going to say, I definitely did not get rub.
That's a contradictory statement.
Well, I'm very aware of that. It says it does not work on undead monsters, but I guarantee you that was not the control problem.
Okay.
Wait a minute. We're talking rub. Sorry, I was thinking of stun. That's the one I don't have. Rub. I've used that for sure. It's worked. It's worked before. On
things that you really wanted to kill in one hit to make your life easier, or are you out doing that shit on werewolves or something?
Like imps.
No. Like, there would be situations where I would be maybe an ogre, like 2 ogres and like 2 other crazy things with it.
Okay.
Or and I would try to rub, and one of them would definitely get struck and taken away. And I'm like, oh, that's nice when it works, but you never know when it's going to work. Kind of like Quake. Unfortunately, like stuff happens, and sometimes things get affected, and sometimes they don't.
I think Quake is a broken one for sure. That one, because everything has a weakness to. Oh, not everything, but a lot of enemies have weakness to Quake, and I feel like we never bought Quake when we were kids.
I mean, Quake's not listed here, but again, it's one of those spells like you can cast it, but it ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like because it affects all the enemies. There's been times when four enemies on the screen and like 2 of them it'll affect, and the other 2 it'll just say ineffective. So I'm like, all right, it's kind of hit or miss. It's not a spell I'm going to rely on, but it's there to use at my discretion.
Yeah, I mean, even if an enemy isn't susceptible to lightning damage, I would guess Lit 3 maths out to a better situation than either of those.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing is like when I'm spending my level 6 spell slots in battle, like I'm going with the guarantee, and Lit 3 is a guarantee.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And that's why I kind of, I think I used at this point, because this is obviously where you buy them. I'm using Rub and Quake in the freaking volcanoes and stuff, Gurgu Volcano and stuff. So I'm trying it there, and it's kind of, so that's what my experience is based on. And so it's really weird because I needed to use them there, and I can't even remember off the top of my mind the monsters I'd be fighting. But then, it would definitely sometimes work and sometimes not work, and I'm just like, fuck, man, you just never know. It's kind of like a fully, yeah,
and that's what it really like the. We've talked about like the whole goal of working through the volcano and like kind of boss battle dungeons like that is, like I said, you're trying to get to the boss as close to coming out of the inn
right
quality party wise as possible. And like there's the chief and maybe really only thing you cannot replenish to get to that state is spell slots. So the idea of burning spell slots on anything that could put like if you're not using Lit 3 fucking on some dumb shit, like you're going to like conserve that as much as possible until you need to use that much damage, or you really need to use that employ that much damage on a group of enemies. So you're just not like the idea of burning like a Rub or Quake or one of these things on something that maybe isn't going to work is just like it is just the most defeating outcome possible, really. To your play. So
think about it like this. Oh, this is the way I think about it. So for me, I have 3 at this point at my highest level now. 3 level 6 spaces to do damage there, and so if I'm in a volcano or something like that, I'm obviously conserving that. I'm not trying to use those unless I absolutely need to. But then if I'm coming across something new and there's several of those, like freaking 6 of these crazy enemies, I'm like, I'll try Lit 3, but if it does like 20 damage to each of them, and I'm like, and I know there's several hundred, I'm immediately gonna roll the dice on Quake and just see what happens,
Right.
Oh, okay. So that's what I would do. And sometimes it'd be like, oh wow, that's great, and other times like, that did nothing.
Fair. Okay, so Quake is the other one, and that's earthquake damage to an entire enemy party, as you probably would guess. And then there's stun here, and it's paralysis on a single enemy. And the idea, I mean, I guess if you could stun like the really fucking bout it enemy in a group attack that you're in, like that would be appealing. But to me, I don't know that,
it's risky.
But is that no damage though?
With these.
Right. Say again, Jay?
Is that no damage though? You're just paralyzing them and they just are just not
just
attacking?
paralysis. I think.
Forget
I
that.
don't think it does any damage. Yeah.
The guide breakdown. So I know we're probably not supposed to be in the guide yet. I don't even know what the fucking rules are for that, so I just use the guide. I don't know.
Well, we're gonna talk about the guide at the end of this.
I don't know. Like if anybody has a problem with it, I don't know. I played this game more than you, so I don't know. The guide says for stun, it says an enemy with up to 300 hit points will be paralyzed, making it an easy target. It is not a recommended buy.
It says will be, not maybe, which maybe you can't and shouldn't read into.
It's also Japanese people writing this in English, so who knows what the fuck they were trying to say.
Right. Yeah, okay, so that's a risky one for sure. So that means what are the recommended buys, Jab, and then what are the actual buys, Jay?
So I'll do white and black here. The white recommended buys, of course, Exit and Invisible 2. That's actually probably as easy as calls in the game. And the black recommended is Lit 3 and Rub.
Okay. Fair. And then what did you buy for the black, magic-wise?
Definitely bought both of those, Lit 3, Rub, and Quake, for sure.
I think that's probably what I would do. I would want Quake for the novelty, just for the role play.
I feel it's and like, how could I possibly have any accurate recall of this? But I feel like I have never cast Quake in my entire life.
Right.
I feel like,
yeah, if the Red Wizard could buy it, I would buy it. I would try it, but he can't buy it, so I won't be doing it in this playthrough.
All right. Well, that's it for commerce. The townsfolk chatter situation doesn't really offer much in the main part of town here anyways. It's pretty sparsely populated. You have just 2 pink-haired people. Both are hanging out by headstones, which is interesting. There is a woman behind the clinic in that little failed fucking revival yard there.
Next to one of her buried loved ones.
Right, maybe, yeah. Maybe that's why she says what she says, which is, light warriors, you can do it. She's, trying to find some hope in the world. And there's a dude that is just sleeping by the 2 headstones behind the weapon shop in the northwest corner there, and he's just like Z's or something. He doesn't even say anything. And not a lot of people take naps on graves, so that's unique behavior.
Yeah, I noted that as well. I was like, this is suspicious.
Yeah, what's up with that? And it's the kind of thing, I don't know, like, they're just kind of, maybe it's, trying to find justification for it. Like they're just like literally creating a narrative hole like that. Like, fill it in with whatever you want. You know what I mean? And like, if that was their impetus, I applaud them. It probably wasn't though.
It's gotta fucking. We can't just have like, how many people we have in this town? Like 1. Okay, we definitely need another one. But it's already Friday. I'm fucking trying to go to the bar.
Exactly.
Make him sleep. I don't know.
Right. Yep. That's probably a much more realistic reason for it. So the real attraction here in Crescent Lake is a garden to the east of the shops where you find the Circle of Sages, and it's 12 identical old dudes standing in a perfect circle. And these dudes each have unique dialogue telling the tale of the orbs and fiends guarding them, your role in it all, and they tell you to check back in with them as you check the pricks off your murder list. And one in particular is especially praiseful as the "You Did a Thing" music cue plays, and he says, "Great job vanquishing the Earth Fiend. Now the Fire Fiend wakes. With this canoe, go to the volcano and defeat that fiend also, and then you have the canoe." And that's a good thing for progress in this game. And Lucan is here too, and he just says some vague prophet shit you really can't disprove, so as to maintain his charade of omnipotence.
Oh, so he acts like every prophet ever.
Right, exactly. With the canoe, you can pop right into any river at any time from any adjacent tile, so this opens the map up to you considerably, as each one of these vehicle editions do, of course. But it also, one of the coolest functions it has is it negates the need to find ports for the ships, or the ship rather. You can just disembark straight into river mouths now, which is really cool and helpful, in particular for getting into the ice cave, because of the way you get into that river system. So some cool new functionalities getting around wise, and yeah, a lot of the canoes are also, I mean, that river system that gets you to the volcano and the ice cave actually are like, they're in that river or that mountain range area where there's nowhere to, you can't, it's impossible to get there, and this is just, as you might assume, just a gatekeeping method really more than anything, any sort of like actual mode of travel.
Every fucking time I've ever played this game, when I get the canoe, and I'm like, all right, time to head to the ice cave. Here we go. I leave Crescent Lake. I immediately head northwest, and I jump right in the river.
Yep.
Wrong.
Yep, wrong. Yeah, okay, so, we will get into our Tales of the Grind and kind of how the volcano went later in the next segment here, but I, as anyone following along with us, and you guys, of course, know, I had difficulties with the Gurgu Volcano, and
you could have just stopped the sentence that I had difficulties.
Right. So
and honestly, you could phrase that I have difficulties.
It has not gone away for sure.
I don't mean to be your editor or anything, but
I don't know. That might not be true. I kind of feel like maybe it has gone away a little bit. I don't know if, well, whatever. That's to be talked about later. So, anyways, I had suggestions, and we even talked about it. I think as part of just kind of how we're going to approach moving forward. At the end of the last episode, each of us had our own little plan there, kind of, or at least Jab and I did, and So I gave up on the volcano one time and then went to the ice cave to try that, and that, of course, did not go well either. At the lower
it's
level,
almost harder, I would think.
It absolutely was. And weirdly, I don't know. That's again to be talked about later, I guess. It's weird. It's weird. These guys are just weird as far as the way they work with the game or interact with the game as characters. But anyways, so I went to the fucking ice cave once, and I had to, I didn't even try to guess how to get there. I looked at the map and planned the route, and fucking sailed up the fucking coast there and went into the river system there and got there. And then that didn't work, so I grinded for fucking 18 levels and then eventually beat Gurgu Volcano. And then I'm like, okay, now I'll go back to the ice cave. And even after having went there in my play this time, I wandered around those rivers like, what the fuck? Where the fuck? Where the fuck is the ice cave? And I had to
confusing.
Yeah, I had to look it up again and be like, oh yeah, you got a fucking okay. So yes, you're talking about purely from memory of, however long you've been playing this game for years. I used the book and did it myself and still forgot. Because it is just a little bit fucking confusing, So yeah, there's no question.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite points in the game because there's some really unique experiences. You're starting to like hit a stride as far as like your character's skill and capability goes, and you just got the new fucking the new toy. You just got your another new vehicle, the canoe. So like you're off and running now.
Yep, agreed. And as you do so, you find that the rivers are populated by random battles as well, and it's all new enemies that are freshwater specific only. And I probably shouldn't say all, because it really is only 3. It's Ochos, Caribs, and Hydras that make up the full list of river enemies. And
there's also gators.
I have never once encountered a gator in this play.
Definitely, there are gators.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jay, you've encountered them, right?
I don't recall gators. Not ever.
Yeah. Unless it's like one of those things where like they're only in other freshwater sections.
Yeah, they must be in another river. Maybe they're up on the northern continent because they're not in this area for sure.
It's listed as an enemy, so I don't know.
I spent an insane amount of time in these rivers grinding before I could really engage Gurgu Volcano with any sort of grind activity. So if they were there, I'd have found them.
They're listed. I don't know.
All I know is that the water hydras were kicking my ass on this part.
They definitely can. They can fucking. They do because they're one of those. We'll get into the bestiary stuff later, but they have that multi-attack thing. So they they do a lot of their base floor damage amount is higher than obviously the one hit enemy. So yeah, they can fucking drop your ass if you're just cowboying into them and you're not paying attention to your fucking life and stuff.
And I love these enemies. Their sprites look really cool. It's like the concept of like being in like a river. That's all like good imagery and roleplay.
In a fucking canoe, which is not exactly a a battle vessel.
Gotta roleplay it a little bit, man. You probably like camped by the side of the river for that day, and a hydra comes out of the water and starts fucking with you. I don't know.
Man.
But yeah, if you fight anything in a canoe, you fucking couldn't stand up. You can't stand up in a canoe, so you're not fighting in a canoe.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rough. Especially 4 people fighting in a canoe. If you think about the physics of that is extra fucked because in a canoe it requires insane teamwork to make it work. To the paddling of it requires great teamwork. Just maintaining balance. I'm sure there are some. If we Google right now on YouTube or looked up on YouTube, I'm sure if you typed in canoe fails, there's probably some fantastic drunk motherfuckers trying to get into canoes together. The one guy with his foot on the fucking on the bank of the river and like one foot in the boat trying to fucking keep it steady, and his girl trying to get in from. It's probably fucking. There's probably some great ones. So yeah, canoe is not exactly the most fucking sound way to be engaging hostility.
Right. Might want to leave that out of your battle strategy.
Right. So with the Hydras they don't have any. It is just like heavy damage melee stuff. The Karibs are the same kind of thing. They're just like the Karibs are like the Sahags basically. They're just like annoying little add-ons. Extras. To the more dangerous enemies, and then the other one is the Ochos, which are kind of, I don't know, I mean, those are kind of like, I don't know, they actually don't look water-based. They look like they have feet or something, you know, like the, which I guess Hydras probably do too. Yeah, they're like a dragon, but in any event, they look kind of like
you never see the bottom side of a Hydra, do you?
Right. Yeah. But, I mean, it's a dragon, so it's got to have feet, you know? It's got to have some sort of, I guess maybe it could have like a, I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, the Ochos are like, they look kind of like octopus-ish a little bit. They got like a bunch of, some arms going on, a couple of arms going on that are kind of just like all willy-nilly.
Yeah, that looks like they're missing an eye too, which I really appreciate in the design.
And
yeah, they're a really fucking cool enemy, actually.
Yeah, and they are kind of, they don't do a lot of damage, but they are poisonous. So as far as like the we're just talking about it's not even a matter of math, really, because I did a lot of my grinding for this episode in literally the little bit of fucking water right in front of Crescent Lake's entrance, so I could just pop back into the inn, and and you engage the same things river-wise, regardless of where you're at. So there's just no reason to go anywhere else. And for me, it's not even a matter of math, because money doesn't matter, so I don't care how many times I have to go to the inn. It is a little bit of a nuisance to go into the town, I guess. But really, the biggest impediment to my grinding was just being poisoned and having to go to my menu and use poison. And also, it moves the fucking party order around, which we've talked about for how it relates to me. Like, I don't have to reorder them, but because it's good that we're talking about this. I probably wouldn't have thought of this otherwise. But I have two that have kind of heightened weapons, and then I have two that have I think it's the Falcons maybe weapons. So the Falcons are shittier. They do, as the guys have progressed, the Falcons have gotten better about multi-hit and maybe even more criticals, I would say. But the base damage of the other two swords, I think it's the Coral Sword and the Dragon Sword maybe, are way higher than the Falcons. So when I'm distributing my attacks, when grinding, I always want to know where the two better swords are in my party order, so I can, like, when I need to pair up two hits, I want to pair one Falcon with one of the better swords, So when I come out of a battle and I don't peer them before the battle's over and it reorders my party, I have to re-internalize how the fuck I'm using these guys. And like, it's you don't want to have to pay attention basically when you're grinding. You literally want to be able to multitask. And that aspect of it requires me to pay more attention than is ideal, so the poisoning that the Ochos did was easily the most annoying part of fucking grinding in the river. But
does Todd have the best sword?
That's a good question. I think so. I probably did. I'm sure I did, because that's something I absolutely had to like go to the weapon screen and decide. So
right.
I'm almost certain that I would have given, but yeah, I don't recall offhand.
I imagine he'd be the honorary bro.
Right. He is the bro ringleader. He's the A, he's the president, in the fucking chapter
of the local chapter.
Yeah, chapter hierarchy. He's definitely the A. Gurgu Volcano. To get here, you have to navigate a network of rivers through the mountains northwest of Crescent Lake. And there, as we kind of talked about already, there's a lot of dead ends and shit, just trying to chip away at your numbers on the way. So bring a house to replenish with outside the volcano. And when you hit the lush cove where it's located, you pop out of the river and have to cross some forest before a moat surrounding a small patch of grass where the volcano is located. And the entryway sprite looks, actually like a little yellow volcano, and that's pretty dope that they, make that effort. The music in here is unfucking believable, and I'd love to drop it in here, but it's already the crank we use to segue into Bestiary Annals in the next segment here, so I won't do that. And I love that the first floor is shaped and laid out in a way intended to sell it like sell the volcano vibe, you know, and that is cool. But it raises the question to me that it's conversely weird that they don't carry it through all the levels. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I guess is not requisite. You know, like the you could even maybe make the argument that a cave system inside of a volcano would not be some perfectly hollowed out bi-level, you know, fucking thing. It would be kind of haphazard and fucked up and, you know, not necessarily reflecting the outer shape of the fucking volcano itself. So whatever, but that is something that I noticed getting in here. And so this place is packed with lava tiles that cause 1 HP of damage every step you take on them. And the visual effect is pretty intense for it. It's like a monochrome gray effect imposed onto the entire screen, and then a really fucked up buzzing sound.
Yeah, that's the go-to for RPGs like this is like when something bad happens on a tile you're walking, it's going to make an awful sound.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to give you that General Electric alarm clock from 1975 sound.
And if anybody out there's listening, if anybody out there does like sound production and like you work on like commercials or like TV shows, movies, anything, I don't care. There's no excuses ever. Every time you motherfuckers put in an actual alarm clock sound, I hate you so much. That's the worst sound on planet Earth, and stop doing that.
Well, are you talking about like an old? Because you know, right? Yeah, right.
That one.
I think it's important to differentiate because I think alarm sounds.
It looks bad on my screen, on my recording. It looks bad on my levels.
Right. Anyone? Yeah, probably. I'm sure it's red. The fucking. But the if you talk to anyone who's probably under 30. An alarm sound, like they've never even heard that sound.
All you damn kids get woken up by your iPhones,
right? And like
it's so pleasant.
Yeah, in a what's the word? Like in a wafting kind of swell of comforting sound that come with like those sleep apps and shit. You know, it's like a fucking I don't know. It's like a warm fuzzy teddy bear kind of sound.
Mr.
Yeah,
Full.
like that's
time to wake up.
Yeah, in the 80s and 90s, you were woken up by like it's like fucking having a gun jammed into your fucking temple and told to get the fuck out of bed.
Yeah. And then you couple that sound with Mad Mike ripping the blankets off of you.
right. Yeah, get the fuck up. Yeah.
And that is exactly how every child should go to school.
Yep. And I can tell you for certain, my fucking hung out with my buddy Danny a couple nights ago, and his drunk ass fucking stayed here and literally kept drinking after I went to bed at 4 a.m. or something. And at 8 a.m., he's in the bedroom trying to get me up to fucking go to work with him. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to work right now? And the way he was doing that was literally, yes, ripping the blankets off and pulling on my feet, which was like all I could think of was Mad Mike.
It's a really unpleasant way to be woken up.
Right, for sure, yeah. And he comes from the same rearing environment as us, so I'm sure that's where I didn't think about it at the time, but that's that I don't know, that's just like a fucking lower class Irish fucking Midwestern way of life. Yep.
It's all starting to make sense, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is pretty funny. Okay, well, back to Gurgu Volcano. There, it is populated by a range of new enemies. Wizard ogres, green ogres, which aren't new, but they are in here. And we have hyenas, there's red hydras, red giants, agamas, Cerebus. Say that word. Both of you say that word.
Cerberus.
Cerberus? I can't say that word. I don't know how that's pronounced.
Cerberus.
Maybe
no, I said
I actually
Cerberus,
said Cerberus.
And there's not an extra on this. Cerberus. Yeah, there's no extra.
Yeah. In any event, those are here, and there are also red dragons, and there's probably I'm probably forgetting a couple of things there, but a lot of new shit, and a lot of it's fire themed, as you might imagine. There are fire elementals in here too, of course. And the hydras, the Cerberus, and red dragons, and also I would find later agamas, even though I didn't think they did, but they each have group fire attacks that are named fun, creative choices. Like each one has its own unique group fire attack. I mean, they're all it's all just fire damage, so it doesn't really matter what you call it. But it's cool to me that they took the extra effort to name them uniquely for each one. The Hydras have Cremate, the Cerebrus have Scorch, Dragons have Blaze, and I would find later that Agamas have Heat, even though I don't think one ever cast it on me. So that's to me cool, you know. And when you get to the Ice Cave, there are also similarities to this, like the Dragons have Blizzard, and there's a couple other ones that do the same thing in the Ice Cave. So that's just a cool thing that I forgot. And so yeah, floor 1 is, like I said, shaped like a fucking volcano, and you kind of just got to work your way through. You just kind of introduce the lava. They don't let you go through. You can't get to the stairwell without interacting with the lava. Basically, you have to go through it. So I think that kind of teaches you and lets you know,
People
like,
understand this concept,
right? Yeah, this is part of the deal. You can't avoid this. Get used to it. Yeah. So yeah, the attrition starts early, I guess, maybe is the point there. So
there's not going to be another place that I can throw this in. And I should say real quick, I have not been to the volcano. I didn't do that path. I think I mentioned that in the last episode that I wasn't doing that. There's no other place to mention it altogether. No, it's not that I just did a different order. I've always wanted to do the different order. I've just never done it. I've always played like straight through as you're supposed to, but I did it different this time, and I'm glad I did. We'll see what happens. I mean, it'd probably make the game easier, but nowhere else to put this, so I got to do it here. In the guide that we haven't even technically started using yet, the red giant sprite is upside down.
Oh, okay.
It's That's not. Funny. I just like one of those little quirky things that I thought should be.
You know, it's weird like that. You say that, and I can kind of remember it.
It kind of stands out,
right?
Like if you got a Final Fantasy eye, it does kind of stand out.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar. So that's funny. So yeah, floor 2. When you move, I guess it's up. Yeah, you move up through this thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when you move up to floor 2, it's a winding hallway room with chests kind of scattered everywhere, as well as one large treasure room with 12 chests in it, and that has a lot of gold, obviously. There is also a giant sword, a ton of silver shit, and then some heals and pures. And the giant joint is ninja friendly, so I look forward to getting that rolling once it's fucking possible. So that's that. It is not. Thankfully, of course, it makes you, as you might imagine, the weapon situation, because you only need to use one, of course, leaves plenty of open room to just kind of stow shit away, as opposed to the armor problem that I mentioned earlier is an ongoing thing. So I'm constantly throwing shit away on the armor front, but I can just, save anything the ninjas can actually use, no problem. That's cool. Is the giant sword something, Jay, that you would have employed here once you got it?
Nope.
No.
I don't know.
That really insightful.
Giant sword. What is
Thank
this
you,
thing?
Sir. Thanks for your input. Okay, cool. So that's really all you got going on here on floor 2. And there you move to floors 3 and 4, and they make you bounce between them a bit to work your way down to the 5th floor, or up to the 5th floor, I guess. The last leg of this has some rooms to pop into and pilfer, and you can find the ice sword in the top left room, which, sounds like the hot shit for fire enemies, of course, but the frat bros can't get down with that. Jay, is there a reason to use that here? Did you try to use it?
I think I did. I'm looking over here, but it ended up being something that wasn't useful. Yeah, I don't have.
That's the fucking story of this.
Yeah, I definitely don't. Yep, still rocking all silver everything.
Okay,
we've covered this, right? That the special weapons don't work. Okay,
right? Not right. Anyways,
that's tragic. Huh?
Yeah, and did we decide that is a completely uniform thing, that all elemental melee weaponry does not do the?
I've not researched it, but my understanding is that regardless, giant swords do not do more damage against giants. Ice sword does not do more damage against blah. Rune sword does not do more damage against undead, etc.
But the spells do work that way. That's the weird thing.
Spells do work, right? But again, corrected in other versions of the game, like the PlayStation version that I have, it does work, and that's dope. I kind of wanted to play it for this, but as you say, the reason that we're doing this is Nintendo.
Right. You can also find the flame shield here, and that's same shit, different day as far as the bros go. But
you're keeping all this for when they're ninja, right?
Yeah, yes,
if you can.
Well, yeah, the flame shield is one of the things that I basically pitched. I started with the caps. I started pitching my caps out. So I basically throwing whatever it is to absorb out the fucking window, just so I can
one day have 12.
Right. So yes, I did keep both those.
Do you think that's the equivalent? Like, so the flame sword or the flame shield is 12 absorb, and the cap is 2. Do you think that is to say that if you got 6 caps and like knitted them together, that you would get a 12 shield, like a cap shield?
Yeah, that's you know, you have
you
to
can roleplay that. If
you have to
you
accept that
one.
idea because of the math presented. But of course, I think that only applies in a situation where you have video game math.
You got to use made up math for that one.
Yeah. And there's a lot of dumb shit here. Also, one room had 2 chests with 10 gold and 150 gold in it, which, to put it mildly, for the trust fund frat bros, is essentially like just punching me. Like, it's basically opening a chest and then punching me in the face as it opens. That's basically.
You found some change in the chest.
Roleplay it as like a real low level mimic. Like, instead of like the thing eating you, it just like slaps you.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, I'll go.
Yep. So the 5th floor has a spoke design with a room at the end of each of those, and this is the final level of the volcano. And so these, the rooms are. It's actually kind of cool. They're like I said, they're on a spoke deal. So I'll speak of them in kind of clock terms. So the 9 o'clock room is a bunch of like really dramatic candelabras with a red dragon guarding the chest. And so I come here and I'm like, when I first came here, it was like level 20 or something like that. And, I would find that Carrie is completely out of my reach as far as beating her goes. But like, at level 20, I'm like, okay, I can, I can't beat this, but I can at least go through and like clear out the chests and shit and, get a little bit of experience and in a very calculated manner, do some grinding, running from the things that I know I can't hang with. And so I get to here, and I'm like, okay, last level, I'll clear the fucking chests out, and then head back out, and, do some more grinding out there. So I fucking walk into this room and, like, fucking walk up to that chest, and, like, a red dragon, like, just fucking waste me.
Yeah, right. So, like, here's the thing. Like, anybody who's ever, like, delved into like fantasy games, stories, anything, the moment a red dragon shows up, your day is much worse than it used to be.
Yep. Yeah. They also are as emotionally and numerically impactful in that Dungeons and Dragons Warriors of the Eternal Sun game. Like when you first encounter that red dragon, it's like fuck.
Like, you maybe could fuck with a green dragon. They had a lot of dragons in that game. I think there's black, green,
for sure,
red, and maybe another
Dungeons
blue.
and Dragons. It's in the fucking name.
It's hot, dude.
There better be dragons. You're really selling me short.
Well, yeah, at least more than one. Red dragon's got 248 hit points, so almost half as much as Carrie. So that's,
and they do a bunch of, and that cremate spell of theirs
Blaze
wrecks you. Yeah, it is fucking heavy hitting shit. I mean, I want to say when I was first, that level 20 encounter, like, I mean, I think it's definitely doing 3 digits. It might have been closer to 200.
Ooh. And I wonder how they calculate. Like, does it function as like Fire 3?
Well, I know I can tell you this. And I mean, that doesn't really. It's kind of almost irrelevant. But I can tell you as my. And I was surprised about this a little bit. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be entirely, but like, I don't know. As I leveled these fucking pricks, their resistance to this changed as well. Like all those heat attacks or special fire attacks from each of these enemies, I would notice discernible differences. So, but that also applies to Fire 2. Like as I would go to fight Carrie at each level, I would see her Fire 2 spell would reduce as far as what it would, about what it would do. But yeah, as far as what the spell translates to, yeah, probably. I mean, maybe each one is a different. And you might even, if we go to the wiki, that one website that actually is like the NES wiki, not just the Final Fantasy fucking wiki, they might associate those attacks with an actual spell. I'm not sure, but yeah,
I'd be surprised if they programmed in like a different fire spell.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I would also
if they even had the room to do that.
Right.
Well, that's actually, and that vibes with what I've read about the class changes. The black belt, apparently, when you're if you want to like power level and like do like min max, so to say, you're supposed to level up your black belt a lot before you get the class change, because you get some sort of bonus to like spell resistance that the master does not get.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
yeah,
that is a pro tip and a half. Fuck, if you have a black holy shit.
That's why people come to us, Josh.
Yeah.
That's why they're all. That's why they've all subscribed and rang that bell.
Yeah, right. So what this Red Dragon guards is the flame armor, which is another thing that I had to stow away. And as far as what else is here, that's without doubt, other than carry, of course, that's the most significant thing going on in this level. What most of the other rooms are, and again, just a soul-crushing or not most, what all the other rooms are. So the 10:30, the 12 o'clock, the 1:30, the 3, the 4:30, and the 6th are all either empty, save for candelabras, or have chests, but the chests themselves are empty. So cool, real fucking cool, guys.
Brutal. Just slogging through all those enemies, all that lava, and you get nothing.
Yeah, and they're on a spoke design, so you have each within the spoke design. Like you can't. It's such a cool thing, and it's I don't know, just like
it's a cool design. It makes you work for it.
Right, exactly. So you go all the way down a spoke, and there's the room at the end of the spoke, right? So there are 2 rows. Are there 2? Or is there only 1? There's only the 1, I guess, of lava. So there's a moat of lava that is just outside before
Stairs.
Each spoke really starts to go out in its direction, I guess. There's like a little there's a moat of lava that you have to pass through to even go down the spoke. But no, I feel like there's 2 of them.
There's so you come down the stairs and you're surrounded by lava.
Right, okay. So yeah, so what I was getting at here is the second one, the second moat allows you to actually walk through it to the adjacent spokes. So if you want, and if you really think about the math of it, it's only like 4 or 5 damage.
It's really not that bad, right?
Yeah, but if you contrast that to what you could potentially encounter enemy-wise, going back to the middle and then going all the way back down the next spoke, it's probably a net positive. But the max, if you're, I don't know, I just can't bring myself to do it, I guess is what I'm getting to.
Yeah. You can't when you're on that RPG tile that's causing problems, even if it's only 1 health, it freaks you out. You don't want to do it.
Just cannot fucking do it. So yeah, so each time you're going into each one of these spokes and getting to empty rooms, essentially, you're going all the way back to the middle and then all the way back down the spoke. And obviously the enemies on this floor are the hardest in the volcano because it's the fifth fucking floor. And I believe it might even be the only one. There might be fire elementals that guard chests earlier up or earlier down in the floor hierarchy. But this is the only floor where you're going to find them randomly, I believe. So, and those are, they're really actually not that dangerous. They don't have the group attack, I don't think. And, they're just doing individual, even their melee damage comparative to some like the dragons or the red giants is not that bad, but they do have a lot of HP. So they're draining, so whatever. So yeah, it's just a bummer that you do all this work. Especially because the Red Dragon room with the armor was the first one I went to. So I'm like, ooh, there's going to be a bunch of cool shit here. And then, everyone I go to after that was just another, punch in the gut, because it was fucking empty.
Oh, my God, and your party's so bad, too.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I was just literally, all I need to do is survive. So, Connor died in the Red Dragon battle, but other than that, I was able to get out with 3 fucking alive guys. What it did do, no question, was set Connor back on my fucking grinding distribution, and Connor was always the one that was behind. Yeah, on the leveling up. Yeah, fucking Connor. Yeah, so that's how this. Well, but yeah, I mean, so before we get into carry, I guess Jay, talk to us about just kind of your exploration of this from a totally naivety standpoint. The volcano.
I don't understand what you mean when you say exploration of this volcano. There's no exploration of this volcano. There was looking at this map and trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B without dying. That's what this was.
Minimize the number. Okay, that's fair.
I mean, I came here, and I'll get into more details during Tales of the Grind, but I came here and definitely got my ass handed to me and left and came back several levels later. So even coming back here with everything that I have, I mean, there's so much fighting going on, especially in this last area, dude. So all the freaking empty treasure boxes were driving me nuts. And, like, because of all the fights, I was ended up going throughout this whole level under 200 health for like everybody, because I just kept like having to try to heal and fight and, you know, walk through the freaking lava.
How many heal potions do you bring?
Well,
the answer's 99.
I feel like he's not going to tell us 99 right now, though.
Definitely not 99. Definitely not 99. So when I came back here, I had 42 heals and 20 pures. And I thought that was a lot. I was like, all right, we're making it through. And I will just say, you know, I finally got out of here with, let me see, 2 people. I finished with just my black mage and my fighter. And I was like super concerned. Ooh. And I was like barely.
That's after that. You're saying when you beat Carrie, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was so much like damage I was taking just getting to Carrie. Sure. You know. That's it was a struggle.
Yeah. I just out of curiosity, have you invented some sort of manual way to just push your A button down and walk away to buy heals?
Do you have a little brother?
Yeah. Can you have Jesse come and do that?
Pretty sure it won't work that way anymore. No, I just sit there and just press it over and over. Like if I'm doing something else, I'm just like whatever.
Yeah.
Well, on NES-topia, we've talked about this, right? You can change the speed. So like, oh my god, it's so easy. I just bump my speed up to like 240. 60 is the normal speed, so I bump it up to 240. So that's what, like 4 times faster. And then I hold my turbo A button and fucking boom, problem solved.
Yeah, right. You should.
Yeah, Jay, but see, wait a minute. You're still talking as if I thought I needed that many. Long before I thought I needed that many. Like,
pay attention. We told you. At
this point, no. At this point, this is, you know, a month and a half ago, whatever. Like, I'm still thinking this is a lot. So after this, when I go to the ice cave, 100%, I have 99 of both. Like, yeah.
What's your party? Wait, what's your party again? I forget.
I have a fighter, red mage, white mage, red mage.
Black mage, you mean?
Red, white, black, yeah.
Okay, so you have all the mages and you have a fighter.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty pricey party. I mean, I don't know what your gold situation is, but that's an expensive party.
So much gold, man. Gold is like not even an issue right now.
Then Josh and I will give you some advice. Anytime you go anywhere, bring 99 potions.
Right. Sure.
Heal potions at least.
What's the you have like 11 kids, Jay. What's the youngest one's name?
Ezra,
right. And how old?
He's 3.
Maybe a little too young. What about this? What's the second oldest?
7.
7. Oh, 7's perfect. Yeah. Teach the 7-year-old to buy heal potions.
and pure while you're at it.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. He's like, he needs a timeout from technology. He needs a complete break. He's had too much.
Well, I'm sure he probably wouldn't consider an NES fucking technology.
He's probably got more memory in his fucking glasses.
You have no idea.
This game has.
I walked away from my computer for like 2 seconds the other day, and he was just like all up in the screen when I had this setup going, just fascinated with it. It does not matter. You kidding me? If I'm playing this game, he still wants to know everything that's going on.
Sure. All the more reason it would probably be very easy to convince him to do this grunt work for you.
Now that I know this is not a problem.
You could even justify your own head, like, you know, it's like Will Smith's dad sending him and his brother out to build that brick wall, man. It's like fucking brick by brick, man. You're like,
true. Keep in mind though. So at this was the point where I had just bought my level 6 spells. So I'm like trying Quake, I'm trying Rub, you know, and this I'm just like fuck, you know, when it's not coming through and bringing me like the preferred outcome. So yeah, it was kind of quite a struggle.
Okay. Well, yes. If once you get to the end of the gauntlet of sadness and disappointment of these rooms, you will find or can find Carrie in the 730 spoke, and the room that she's in has that little bit of shit on the roof by the door that you will interpret throughout the game as the orb location. And that's surprisingly, like, before I knew she was in there and I was just testing each one of these spokes out when I saw that. It's funny how quickly and how impactful that is emotionally. Like, ooh, that's it. they might as well. The second you can see that, They might as well play that little tune that they play when you do something of note, like when you use the floater and the airship comes up, that little fucking sound. They should play that as soon as
finally.
Yeah, we're fucking here. So you walk into her room, or her chamber, I guess, and her shit-talking dialogue goes like this. Is it you, the tinder that defeated the fiend of the earth and disturbed my sleep? I, Carrie, will now show you the force of fire, and you shall burn in its flames. And that's awesome, man. The Tinder thing, like coming up with an adjective that is something that is at her mercy like that is a really cool writing choice. That's really fucking cool.
Did they do that for Lich? Because that's a good speech. I obviously I didn't play the volcano, but that is a good speech.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Lich had one. They each have their own speech. I don't recall what it was, but I don't think it did not have as good of an adjective like that, or I'd remember it, But
here we go. So here's Lich's. The fiend's ball cracks open, and an ominous cloud rises, and an evil shape congeals. It is Lich, the fiend of the earth.
Right, so he doesn't talk. And that's kind of that makes sense to me too, because Lich looks like the kind of thing that doesn't have shit to say.
I'm ready to get to business. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, the fucking it's like I don't know, those undead based things. Like the whole idea is that they are devoid of any sort of humanity, Right. So that of course lends itself to not having some dumbass fucking boss speech, or not dumbass. This is good, but that's I think a deliberate and appropriate choice for him.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. What do they call it? What did Thanos say? Was it him? I don't watch that stuff, but the undead ones, they seem very inevitable. Just like we're doing this right now. Like you're gonna win or I'm gonna win, but we're doing this.
I don't know the Marvel speeches either, but that sounds like some shit that would be on a meme. Mm. The numbers for Carrie: she has 600 HP. Her damage range is 40 to 80. Which is a lot, and and she can cast Dark and Fire 2, and she is weak to stun and sleep. I of course didn't know that battling her because I don't have any ability.
Nor would it have mattered.
Yeah, impose those onto her, and she is resistant against. And this I thought this really fucking interesting. She is resistant against lightning, ice, and fire. So she's resistant to ice. She's the only the ice is the thing, like that.
That's why we're here.
You get that ice sword, and you're probably like, okay. That's the thing for fucking the boss. That's what I need, holy shit. And, even if it worked, obviously, it doesn't work, then of course not. But theoretically, in a universe where it works, like, you would think ice would be the way with this boss, and not the case. So that's a, it's also just kind of a, it's clearly deliberate. And the idea that, like, whatever, she is the master of this domain, and she has an understanding of what she needs to work, like, to make the best version of herself. Whatever arcane effort she made to make herself not weak to these things that her minions are, is a really interesting little fucking, I don't know, thing to me, lore wise. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. There's room for role play in there.
Yep. And the spoils from defeating her, you get 2475 XP and 3,000 gold on death. So that's what you're gunning for. And an interesting thing, I noticed this. I feel like even as I say it, maybe I noticed this and talked about it with Lich too. But it is interesting to me that they don't have you don't select her when you attack her. You just hit fight, and it just goes to the next character.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's interesting because normally, even in fights with one enemy, you get the little hand and have to select them. So it's just I don't know, it's just like it's such a stupid thing. It just like shows the developers were awake, I guess. Like they were paying attention to what the UI was, and it wasn't just a drag and drop thing. They actually like, oh no, there's nothing else ever going to be paired with this enemy. It's a boss. We don't need to have that step. Therefore, nix it. And that's. Again, probably why the whole game is great, because they weren't asleep at the wheel. Or at least with some things, most things. So
fucking special effects that are pretty sleepy.
Yeah, right, exactly. But so like I said, I came here for the first time at level 20, and in my first battle with her, fucking like, I don't know. Do you want? Because mine will probably be longer and funnier. because of how inept it is. Maybe Jay talk about and Jap. So you have not fought her, right?
I've not fought her. No.
Okay, right. All right. So
it won't be a fight. I mean, I'm gonna fucking smoke her,
dust her off, right? Sure.
Room, right.
So yeah, Jay, like your actual, you said you ended up with 2 of them dying. How did it? What did you find? Like, what was your tactic? I guess because you had magic, so I'm assuming you employed some of it here. Like,
So I came in here at level 16, got my ass handed to me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to come back at 18, but I ended up coming back at finishing through level 20, 21. So I actually made it there. But yeah, I mean, of course, with my fighter, I'm going, attacking first, and then everybody else. So I think the red mage at this point, because I'm not sure, I'm like, okay, this is a boss. Generally, with the red mage, I will attack first because I can do so much damage with their attack and try to save the magic, in case I need it. Mm-hmm. And I think I did that here. I was like, all right, I'm going to go 2 attacks first, and then, I don't know if Carrie's undead. So I'm just going to do anti-fire with the white mage, and then naturally I'm going to hit of course, a lightning 3 or an ice, something heavy, which is not going to do much damage to them at first. But yeah, she just started. I feel like the anti-fire didn't really do a lot of help here.
Yeah. But I mean, she has that fire 2 attack, but even fire 2 is such a, it's kind of a low level thing, really. So yeah, it probably, I mean, whatever it's probably a better thing. A buff, dropping that buff onto your party is probably better than what you would get out of the mages or the white mages fucking melee anyway. So probably smart, but yeah, I would guess.
Yeah, roll the dice there as opposed to the 3 damage you're gonna get.
You're right. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely went with the good stuff. Fire 3, sadly, just because it's a high level thing, and lightning 3, even though they have defense against it, and eventually it was just my fighter and my black mage just going to town on her because my white mage died, my red mage died. I tried to resurrect the red mage during battle, but it was ineffective. So then my white mage died, and I was just like, ugh.
Oh, life doesn't work. Oh my god, it cannot work.
Yeah,
you used the life spell.
Yeah, and it did not. It was ineffective during the battle.
Holy shit.
That I feel like I don't know, for some reason that seems impossible to me. Yeah.
I wonder if that's because
it cannot be used in our Explorer's Handbook. It says cannot be used during battle, and I didn't realize that.
You did it anyways. That's
so
cool.
I wasted a turn, and on the very next turn, my white mage died after
and
it was ineffective. So I was like,
it's so fucking. It's just old school fucking hard Nintendo. The fact that that it takes your turn and that it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I just
so punitive.
I guess what I'm saying here is in a modern game, it's going to say you can't do that or something and then give you it, but in fucking on NES, they're like, okay.
The feeling that I felt inside of me when that said ineffective, I was just like crushed, just like, because I knew how much health my white mage had left, and I was like, oh, fuck.
So
it's funny though, these old Nintendo games, RPGs, they have and it's a complete accident, it's not on purpose, but they've got that second edition advanced D&D difficulty built in, it's essentially the dungeon master being somebody being like, hey, can I do this thing, and the dungeon master's like, you can try. Sure, give it a fucking shot, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's only because I don't have the
I'll pretend behind my little screen here to roll a die so you think I'm checking something, but
I read the description of the spell and you can't use it during the If you want to waste your turn, it's your turn, buddy. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. That's funny. Okay.
And I was going to say that's why I was like, we would never use, I guarantee you we just didn't use life during the battle because it only brings you back with 1 hit point. So
right, yeah.
And if you cast fire too, goodbye.
Yeah, what I was thinking even more pressingly than that, or more not pressingly, but even more of our childhood reasoning for things, the book said not to do it. So literally, just never even going to try. Because that's what I mean. And that's the thing. Okay, I haven't played this game since the 90s. How the fuck would I remember whether I ever used life or not? Who the fuck has any idea? But you say that you use it in battle, and it's like a fucking I don't know, like a goddamn apocalypse in my mind. Like, that's not possible.
Right.
That's not even looking like.
Like everybody can picture what, like, you've seen it on the internet before a million times. Like when you like say something to your dog, or like they don't understand something, and their head just goes to the side. Like it just cocks to the side.
Like,
literally, when he said I used it during the battle and it didn't work, my head cocked to the side.
Yeah, like, okay.
Well, the funny thing is, like, I have the Explorer's Handbook up while playing, obviously, and so I think instinctually, like, I knew that, and like in it, it was kind of like a desperation move, like like I didn't think about it. It was like revive, you know.
Carrie had you shook.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, had you off.
I did not want to have to go through this whole thing again. And people were already dying, and I'm just like, fuck, it's all falling apart in front of my eyes.
That's, you know what? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just one last thing, actually, you know, this is what I do, apparently. In the the white magic for Melmond, level 5, life description, revives a dead warrior, but does not work in battle. A hit point recovers by 1.
Yep.
So, yeah. But that begs the question, in life 2, can you use that in battle? That seems like it would be super useful.
Right. Because that brings you back with full life. That's the deal, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't say. The guide actually doesn't. It just says revive slain ally with complete restoration of HP. It doesn't say can I use it during battle for that one.
Right. Let me see if I can get more info out of the guide.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, a thing that I was, you know, I've thought about it a lot. It's kind of an extension that just we haven't maybe expressed it this way, but. You know, Jay, you were just talking about like you don't want to do this again. Like, you know, there's like a fear, and you get off your game and you do something maybe you wouldn't have done because of like worry that you're going to have to do this again. And like that, you know, I'm sure it's an extension because it's your first time playing it, and like you have this unknown component. But I've found a lot, you know, and this is, I guess, kind of a manifestation of that. But when we were back doing the Marsh Cave, or rather of my experience this time playing. When we were back doing the Marsh Cave, Jab, you and I talked about how like it wasn't as bad as we remember.
It really
you know
wasn't,
what I mean?
yeah.
Right. So I've felt that a lot, and I guess I haven't thought of a way to express it this way yet. But I feel that way a lot. Like playing this, like it's just not that bad. You know, like even the Ice Cave. Like I'm beating the Ice Cave, and I'm like, I've only been in here like it's taking me like once I have the math to accomplish it, it's like a 15-minute thing. Like how, you know, if I had failed here and I had to do it again, like. I don't know. Like when we think about those things as children, I don't know. I get maybe what it really is just an expression of like as you get older, time means less.
Oh yeah,
you know, like whatever. But like as a child, like yeah, I mean that it's like the end of the world when you die and you have to go back and do this thing from the beginning. And there's just so much more at stake seemingly. And like yeah, I play it now and like I get into these situations and I'm playing on OG hardware. Like there's no save state. It was the ultimate, the maximum level of risk. Everything I do that you can have playing this fucking video game. Because the way I'm playing it, and like I still, even when I get to these really hairy situations, I'm just like, fuck, you know, and like whatever. It's just funny to me though because yeah, because our memories of this are so much higher stakes, and it's just funny to me how many times, even maybe not in these words, I've thought it, but I definitely felt that way playing the Ice Cave. I was just like, if this doesn't work, like big deal, you know.
Well, I think a couple times. Like earlier on with like the March Cave and like some other caves we were going in, you guys would be like, Jab would be like, oh, good luck, like, oh, it's gonna be tough, and I would go through like, oh, this is not a big deal. And so I've definitely had those experiences like, oh, it's not a big deal, but because I came back here, you know, 5 levels earlier and just got handled, I was like, oh, and because of like all the searching around and finding empty chests, it felt like such a longer experience time-wise going through it, when realistically if I had have died, I'd know, okay, I'm going back in, I'm going directly to that one place.
Yeah, you know exactly where to go, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to run from some fights and try to get out of here, you know, and I can do it quicker, and that's definitely been the case before, but that first time when you're just going back through it, I'm like, just barely making it through, struggling, people are dying, I'm like, this may or may not be the secret to getting past this one.
Right. Yeah, it makes me happy that you are having that emotional response though, because that is you know, like you said, the stakes need to be there to really enjoy this game the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. So it makes me happy that you are, even as an adult, finding ways to that emotional response. That's cool. So. Okay, well, let's talk about the way the bros experienced fucking Carrie. So yeah, I'm at level 20, the first experience, and you know I go into this battle, and
you got there in decent shape.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's the
It's just the heal potion. Yeah,
using heals, and there's no spells to burn. So yeah, I'm not out of heals now, so I'm able to go in there. And even before I go in, normally when I'm using the heal potions, maybe this goes without saying, but like I know they give me exactly 30, so I don't use if a potion gets me to 7 HP away from my max, I won't even burn that next potion to get to max. I'll usually just roll with 7 and whatever. But when I go into the battles with the bosses, I'll burn that extra potion. So I'm 100% maxed out going into every major battle for sure, I guess is my point. So yeah, I walk into this thing, and it's funny, Jay, you were talking about your experience, and you're like, I came in at 16, she dusted me off, I come back at 20, and that's me OP, I'm going to roll through this now, and it's funny that I come in here at first at 20, get dusted off, and at no point do I ever feel OP, but my actual completion of this is fucking way down the road. So it was just funny to me, that little contrasting as you're explaining your experience. I'm thinking how much worse mine was, but
wait a minute. So what level did you actually finish at?
Well, so we'll get there. Let's go through it step by step. Let's baby step our way fucking onto the bus here and talk about how the bros and experience carry.
Man.
So yeah, so I walk into this battle at 20, and she kicks things off, alternating between Fire 2 and Dark. And the Fire 2 at level 20 was definitely still doing 3-digit damage on me, so at least on average, I would say it's probably low 100s, high 80s, 90s, right? So Fire 2, relatively speaking, not that bad for what I would find her fucking melee. When she starts dropping that, it's I got a 265 burger on Connor to start. Her first attack on fucking Connor again, of course, is a 265 burger. And it's at level 20, maybe they have 300 and some change max life, so it's just I see that and I'm just
I'm not ready.
Exactly. It was just the second that happened, I was I should have never said, I'm going to go through the motions here because I'm a moron, but this will never work, And sure enough, yeah, she just fucking matriculated her way through dropping the other 3 bros one by one with melee attacks, and it's, fucking back to the drawing board. So I essentially would just, that would happen as far as it was a rinse and repeat thing. That would happen. I would go out to the river in front of Crescent Lake and level to the next level across the board and go back and try again. So I go back in at level 21. These dudes are still doing, which I didn't even mention because it was irrelevant information, but they're definitely doing the 1 to 2 damage bullshit at level 20. So God. It's just you're just waiting for crits, and even the crits are bullshit really on her. So yeah, it was just there's just literally no hope of beating her at level 20. None. So I come back in at 21. That's still the case. 1 and 2 damage, basically. And, this happens to me at 21. And I'm I didn't have anyone to have the conversation with here. I probably texted you guys about it to try to work it out. But it's I need to have a talk. There needs to be, we need to have a talk has to happen. What the fuck? What the fuck is the deal with these dudes? I would see this 1 to 2 damage shit against some of the commons in the volcano, the gargoyles, for example, and I don't know exactly what the math is incentivizing that, but what is the deal? What is the thing? Because it's not all of them. The red, they're the red giants, for example, are bout-it ass enemies, and I'm sure their defense is high comparatively, but I still can do not 1 to 2 damage on them. So it's what is the thing, man? In their case, it was only the Falcon wielders, but the Dragon and Coral Sword bros also did very low damage. So the Falcons are the ones doing the 1 and 2. The Dragon and Coral Sword bros are doing 20s and 30s, right, at level 21. So just what the fuck is the possible math that is causing that? Were they 1 to 2? What the fuck in 1 to 2? And the fact that this is happening with each one of the bosses. What the fuck is the math that leads to just 1 and 2 damage? Literally every time. It's not sometimes it's 1 and 2. It's 1 and 2 the whole fight if it's not a critical. Dude. What the fuck is the math? What the fuck? I don't know. Does the absorb thing, if I don't just thinking about the way multiplication works. Fucking, is it literally because at a certain number the absorb does it have damage? by a certain multiplier that the absorb number is. So, you get to a certain number based on how much damage these things can possibly be doing, these fucking bros, where like the multiplier is so high, you've had it so many times that it's basically at 0, but you can't have 0. So it's 1 to 2. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, that's got to be it, is where it's like the math is running it as like all the calculations, and at the very end, it's like times 0.
Right.
So guess what that is? 0.
1 to 2.
But like you say, when they hit, it's just like, we'll give them like 1.
Right. It's like anything. You know what it is? Here's the math, and I don't know. I'm not enough of a mathematician to exactly translate it, but anything to the 0 power is 1.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the math, and I don't know exactly how that applies, but that's got to be the math. You know what I mean? Somehow it's getting to it's an exponential thing, and at some
your
point,
strength plus the attack power of the weapon minus the defense, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
it's 1.
Yep. Right. Which is
your answer's 1. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's 1.
It's so fucked up.
But I feel like without obviously having ever used the bros, that class at all, it seems like this game, and you'll validate this depending on what level you actually beat carry at. Maybe it's exponential in terms of your level. So whatever that multiplier is, it's so low for you until you hit like, I don't know what level you hit, say
that's exactly
29,
what I mean.
and then finally.
That's exactly what I mean by that's got to be the math, because it
seems to work in your favor as well, as long as you put the work in.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what, and like, I'm glad we sat and talked about it, because it makes me feel so much better to have a mathematical justification for this. But like, it literally must. I mean, that exponential thing. That's got to be exactly it. Like, it's literally got to be, however it works out. You have to be subtracting and adding exponents. You have to be, because that's the only way that happens. And it is because so level 22, I come back in. And I'm doing 2 to 10 damage on normal attacks. So there you have it. It's a fucking multiplier, So, yeah, that's an immeasurable jump from 1 to 2. and even from level 21 to 22, I mentioned this earlier, but I could see a precipitous drop of her fire 2 damage range, So it gave me a little bit of hope, thankfully, going 21 to 22. But clearly you're still not 2 to 10 damage is fucking useless. So it's
effective. You know what it is? Effectively 1.
Right. Exactly.
It's the same thing with like Elder Scrolls Online. Like there's a part like when you're calculating damage per second and like resistances. There's always a point where people are like, you got to have X resistance level to or X amount of damage to get through. Sorry, let me restate that. X amount of penetration to get through this resistance level before you're going to actually do damage because of the way it scales exponentially.
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds very similar, actually.
Yep, for sure. So, at level 22, and like level 22, it's like the 2 to 10 damage, is the base, and then so crits are, doing, I don't know, I didn't write it down, but I'm guessing somewhere between like 50 and 80, So like that happens, and like you're like, there's hope, I guess, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So like I'm into this battle, and I'm going through turn by turn, and like I have hope inside of me, so I am paying attention to what's happening and thinking it's possible this could come out to a positive outcome, right? So when you are vested like that, having this battle, but scared enough to fear that you're probably going to fail, when she casts Dark instead of coming with the rest of her arsenal, like, I mean, I can make a range of analogies from like about our usual like abusive relationship shit, but like suffice it to say, like, holy fuck, does it feel good when she casts Dark? It's just like, you can actually do so. Much further down the road when I actually did beat this, if you watch the video that I posted, I'm talking about it in there. Like even when I did eventually beat her, I was still hanging on by a thread, hoping that she would do this so I could stay alive that one extra turn, And yeah, even when I got there, like that was still just like such a fucking relief when she would cast this. So yeah, I would just so many times, dude. I would that thing where like, okay, I fail, I come out and I fucking level, and like by the time I get to level 27, which was the tipping point on this, like, yeah, the amount of experience I got to get at 500 a pop from fucking 2 Hydras, and that's like the best case battle scenario when I'm grinding out here is, it's a lot of fucking of those battles. So many fucking times, and like it got to the point, like it occurred to me that I not only, okay, so you go back into the volcano, and I'm sure, Jay, when you beat this thing, you were still using the map to get there, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, no. I got to the point where I not only had, it wasn't that I had the path to carry memorized. That, no problem. I had the exact path to carry memorized that was the absolute mathematically optimized by step and lava damage quantities memorized in the fucking thing. I had a track from through all 5 floors all the way to carry that was the optimal fucking way of getting there because I had to do it so many goddamn times. So
yeah, you knew how many potions you were going to show up with. You knew how much hit points everyone was going to have at her front door. You knew.
Yep, it was fucking intense. But yeah, level 27 was
Sorry, wait a minute. I'm fascinated that you kept going back like after every level. When I died, I was like,
they take so long.
Go back
and the levels are so long. It was so much grinding. It was so much grinding.
That's true. Yeah.
And I saw.
I was going to go from 2.
I saw a discernible difference each time. Like, it'd be one thing if I was going in there and like seeing no difference, sure, like, and I would do 2 levels. Yeah. But
sometimes RPGs can like a level doesn't mean all that much sometimes.
Right. But I mean, yeah, I would, particularly like with like I said, that fire 2 resistance was like such a discernible difference each time that I was like, okay, there's shit's happening, and then I mean, the damages would get. I mean, but dude, even at level 27, man. Again, I didn't write it down, which I can't believe I did or didn't do rather. But I mean, the base attacks even at level 27 were still bullshit. I mean, I have the video, so I could go look at what it was, but it was still bullshit. But the crits were lit. Like the crits were 100 damage. So literally, if I can get 6 crits, I'm out of this battle. So that was that made it possible, of course, but also just gave me hope that this was going to work out, and it was inching its way there throughout each level. I could see the crit jump sizably, or enough, anyways, to be like, okay, if I level again, it's going to be worth coming back here and trying. So. Yeah, so in my actual battle, that was the success one, Todd and Connor got fucking dusted off really early with melee attacks. So like, again in the video, like I'm like, that happens. I'm like, this is such an awful fucking start to this. Like I'm fucked.
Yeah, what's crazy about that is like now, like that's not even, that data's kind of worthless. Like you don't even know if you could have done, like you could be at a level where you could get it done. But if you start the battle until your guys get smoked instantly, like that's worthless data.
Exactly. And to be totally honest with you, when this battle was happening and that happened at the beginning, I was like, I'm probably going to come back again and try this if I die here, expecting a different start, because it was, I mean, that had never happened even when they were fucking 7 levels worse. I had never just like 1 or 2 rounds into it gotten fucking the lead guys dusted off. I mean, it took more than that, obviously, because they were up to like 400 life. So it's, it was probably like 4 turns into it or something, but very quickly. The turns go fast when all you have is just hold A.
Yeah, I'm watching your video, and it's like 3 hits 3 damage, 3 hits 7 damage, 3 hits 4 damage.
Fucking brutal, right? Dude, that's so bad. So the crits do peter in, and by the time I got to it was poor Jordan left all wise lonesome when I just fucking inched my way over the 600 cumulative damage mark. And actually, I went back through and did the math. It was 614. I did 614.
Look at you.
Yeah. So yeah, just fucking got across the finish line. It wasn't even like, Yeah, it was fucking as close as it could possibly be. So yeah, the video for that is on the Faceship page, and I even busted out the tripod, so it was stellar cinematography. To give you the maximum experience if you want to watch the saddest way to experience a carry battle.
Yeah, if you want to watch the worst way to play Final Fantasy, you can do that.
Yeah, that's how you want to spend your afternoon. The possibility exists.
Really fucking bored.
So when you beat Carrie, did you know that you were going to get transported out? Or did you have to? Think you were going to have to fight out? Because I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh, how am I going to have to get out of here with 2 people dead?"
No, yeah, no, that's I mean, we talked about that about the Lich thing. How like that, that was the thing about the Marsh Cave and even the vampire aspect of the Earth Cave is how it's almost or not almost. It probably is harder, even though the enemy at the end is easier because of the duality of having to come back out and work it out. Because with the bosses, they're all of them work that way. So you can have some level of internal hope and faith, knowing that all you got to do after this battle is literally take maybe 4 steps. And then you can use a cabin or some shit. or a house, rather.
Nice. I wonder if there are enemies in there, Like, it's only 4 steps.
Oh, so you definitely... Oh, fuck yeah! Jab, you gotta be kidding me. Yes. Oh, yes, there are battles in those rooms. Yes.
Holy shit. So you can get... Like, Connor could have... Or whoever could have gotten caught at the very end.
For sure. And can you imagine that video?
Oh, man.
So basically, if you want to see...
I can't imagine that video.
Yeah, if you want to see what happens... I can tell you what that video is. It's the exact same video you can watch, but it's 3 seconds longer, and it ends with your POV whipping into the TV.
Yeah, that would be a rough one. Oh man.
Yeah, but no, that's definitely possible. I've gotten in fights in that room before. Okay. I think in the Lich battle, I think I got into one because I think the Lich hallway to the orb is 3 spaces, I want to say, not 1 like it is here. So I'm pretty sure I got into a fight, which I guess maybe leaves it open possible that after you kill Carrie, that's not the case. But I think if you walk back out, you can definitely get into battles. So I'm sure it applies to after she's dead too. But yeah, I'm pretty sure
with that Lich, by the way, it's 3 spaces.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I got into a fight in the approach to because like I mentioned, like I do that heal fucking potion thing before I do the battles. So I remember against Lich having the reason it's so cemented in my mind is because I did the fucking heal thing just outside the door and then walked into the room and got into another battle, and I was like, you fucking, whatever. I didn't run out of heals, but it was still annoying. So yeah, it can definitely fuck you, and I'm sure there is some kid somewhere whose entire life has been shaped and steered by that moment of betrayal.
Everything we do is the result of trauma, and I'm sure there's somebody listening right now that is like, I've been traumatized in exactly that way.
Right, yeah, that like literally had a physical shudder.
Stop talking about my past.
And we move into our bestiary annals. Jay, talk to us about your 3 selects from the various adversaries you were presented with in your questing for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, the first one I got to start out with the Bane. What freaked me out, made me concerned, and I was going to make it back alive, was freaking Caribes, or Caribes? However you pronounce it. Found in the waterways once we actually left the freaking Gurgu. I keep wanting to say the Gurgu Volcano. The Gurgu Volcano.
That's like my Alfgard problem. I just can't, even though I see the word and know that's not right. I still can't help but say it that
way. Right? Yeah, but these things are a pain. But I mean, you do get 240 XP for beat 'em, 20 gold, which is not bad. They have 92 hit points, so they're usually. I mean, it doesn't take you long to defeat them, but there's usually presented in like groups of 6 or something, so they're just kind of a pain.
Big packs of them, yeah.
Yeah, and especially when I only have 2 people.
Think about when you have only melee attacks and you have to deal with these fucking things. They're a huge pain.
I feel
they're
for
a bad melee attack.
Yeah.
Right. and their attacks do 22 to 44, so not bad. But when you're down on health, down on attacks, yeah, they can be quite a struggle.
And they can pick on your mages a little bit too.
Yeah. Once I got to, because like I said, I did so much grinding in the rivers. They be like, at first I was like, yeah, they were like I thought of them as a nuisance. But when you did like the packs of them, like I thought they were inconsequential. But then when I really started looking at the math and really paying attention to grinding in the rivers, the packs of them, when you got like 6 or 7 of them, the like risk reward ratio, because their damage was relatively low, at least on the bros for whatever armor their situation or whatever their armor situation was. So like it would usually take me, I'd have to pair the good sword with the falcon, so it'd be like essentially 2 of them paired off to each one of them. So even though it would take me like 4 turns, 5 turns sometimes, if there were enough of them, it would still work out favorably because the experience is actually pretty good. Like a pack, I think
that's interesting though.
It's like 400.
I've never used them to grind. That's interesting that you did that.
Well, I mean, they weren't like I said, hydras were always the target, but when I would get the full packs of them, it was not like a total loss. Like that was one of the reasons I think maybe subconsciously I stuck with the river thing, because like the floor of possibilities for what I could encounter, that was the floor, and it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? And that's obviously appealing when you're grinding. There's no fucking wolves. Like, when you pop out the river to go to the volcano, I wouldn't even say some of the time. I would frequently get into a fight against, 3 regular wolves and 4 werewolves. And it's like, they're worthless experience-wise, and it's literally because I have only melee. Not that you're going to waste a spell on them anyways right there, but because I have all melee attack, like, it's literally going to take me fucking 5 turns to beat. Like, there's just no way I'm engaging. There's just no way,
Right.
Yeah, so there's no battles like that in the river. So that was always appealing to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Word. So, moving on. Next.
Moving on to the lovely Red Hydra. Clocking in at 1,215 XP when you defeat it. 400 gold, so that's always nice, even though gold's kind of pointless and abundant at this point. It has 182 hit points, so a strong crit from the fighter or, a strong spell can definitely take it out. But it does some damage. 20 to 40 is the damage range, so again, can be a struggle, but generally not too bad.
And it's got that cremate.
Yep. Yeah. I avoided these like the plague when I was early on. The giants and the hydras, the math was so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it was here, like, dealing with these guys that I had to double check to make sure I had went back and bought that anti-fire. I was like, do I have anti-fire? Okay, I got that. This is time to employ, just in case.
Word. No, yeah, the Hydra is a cool sprite too. I really
the Hydra's a really cool sprite. But actually the Red Hydra has less hit points than the regular Hydra, but it does that cremate damage, which just fucks your math all up.
Right. Yeah, the group attack.
It's actually worth much more experience. It's actually, the rewards are way better, and it's, the hit points lower, but fuck, that cremate will just throw all your math off.
Yep. And that was the thing. Once I got to where I could, like, part of, like, literally the stepping stone or the gate that I had to get through to make grinding the volcano a net positive was literally getting the fire resistance to a place where when those group attacks hit me, it was not devastating. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was that was like the hydras and the dragons were essentially like and the giants too, were the 3 things that, like, I had to be able to deal with in, like, a common way, where it wasn't like a substantial effort to deal with them. Was the thing that had to happen before I could grind in the fucking volcano for sure. So
right.
they were a big impediment.
Nice. All right, and then the next and final enemy that I chose was Cerberus, and I gotta say, so I like this. I found this one interesting because, if I remember correctly, that is also the name of the 3-headed dog in the game Hades, in the underworld. And so, but when I look at the sprite, it almost looks like a dog or a bull or something like that.
I think of them as bulls. Yeah.
But this one has, you get 1,182 points for XP for defeating it, 600 gold, which is nice. It has 192 hit points and does 30 to 60 damage.
Yeah, that's a funny example, because there was something else we thought of. The iguanas, I think that was one thing. We're like, and there's a bunch of them, I guess. Or, like, your thought about, or the wizards are another example too. Like, just your thought about what that is, and not in like just like, oh, that's fucking wrong, but it's just like, that's not exactly, because like exact same thing. Yeah, to me, and I think it's the same word. Maybe it's not the same word, but I think like what I think of is the fucking thing in that Tom Cruise movie. What's the fucking thing in the Tom Cruise movie? The
F-14 Tomcat.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, what's that movie? Legend? Or
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh,
it's like one of his first movies.
Talking about now. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
the scene, it's was things from your childhood that are just like seared into you. The scene where he's getting dragged down the hallway by the magic or whatever it is, and he's literally like raking his nails down the fucking concrete or the stone or whatever. And he's like being somehow magically put. And I'm saying the enemy, the evil fucking guy, is like getting dragged down the fucking hallway, and he's like fucking like that scene is so seared in my mind. That and the scene where he finds the unicorn out in the courtyard are like scenes that I cannot unremember, from my childhood.
I've never seen this movie.
I bet you would actually enjoy it. Like, I think it might be a good movie. Like, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I think that might be a good movie.
Yeah, maybe I will.
It's a classic. You should. It's come up recently for me, and I don't remember why. I don't remember. It definitely come up in the last couple months.
Right. That's what I think of. Yeah, like a horned
legend.
Kind of,
you say?
I think it's Legend something. I mean, Tom Cruise and Legend. That'll get you there. Might be. I keep wanting to say Legend of the Fall, but that's not it.
The only pushback I would offer on the bull interpretation is that we have enemies in this game that are bulls, and they have a different thing. And considering this is Cerebus?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
Bull
I just noticed that.
Bull is the wrong word. Yeah, bull is the wrong word. It's what I actually think of it. It's like those. I think they're like African plain animals that have like those bull horns, but their bodies are a more slender.
Talking about zebu?
Maybe.
I think that's a zebu.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean they're essentially just lion fodder. I think is their function in the ecosystem. Yeah, that's kind of what I interpret these to be.
Oh, you're definitely Google zebu. That's definitely what you're thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
Wow, they're such crazy looking animals.
Yeah, the hyenas are the same. The purple version. You get those, or blue actually. I think they are. Those are actually in the upper or lower levels, I guess. In this case, in the volcano case, those are actually present with like wizard ogres and shit in the lower levels of the volcano too. So that both of those sprites are in here.
It's funny that if I search for Cerebus animal just to see what comes up, it immediately gives me Cerberus
Egyptian
animals,
myth.
all
Yeah.
the three-headed dogs.
Okay. Yeah, Egyptian mythology, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Word. Okay. Jab, talk to us about your.
What did I do? Okay, so I did my first one. I get it's fucking funny how life works. I can't remember which ones you. Oh, you picked Red Hydra. So I picked the regular Hydra. Because I like the river enemies. They're fucking cool, and their sprites are good. And I don't know. I like the river enemies. They're fun. And that little landscape they paint at the top of the river battle is a good one too.
Yep, agreed.
So I had to get a river enemy in here. So I picked a Hydra, 212. Josh, you're very familiar with these.
All two.
And I can say, looking at the math, I can see exactly why. Not a lot of work on your end as far as like managing the battle, and pretty good reward. If you get two of them, you're talking 1,800 experience, because they offer 915 experience each one you kill. They've got 30 to 60 attack power and 212 hit points.
It would be they're it would be 500 something spread across the four one way or another, because it was without a doubt the optimal river. You get like two of those in like a Caribbean or something, and yeah, you're talking about 5, and it's divided by 4. Yeah, you're about 500. So Hydra also maybe that'd be a fun thing we could do. Even you could ask the people that follow us on social media to rank your favorite sprites for the game. Oh, that's a cool idea. I agree.
And that actually might be in my top 3 or maybe 5.
Yeah, I could. So, yeah, we could post the chart, for them to work from and have them. Yeah, that would be cool. That's a cool little
righto. We'd love to hear from you guys. Actually, They would love to hear from you. I don't care. I do care, of course, but I'm not going to interact. My second one I picked was the Frost Dragon. Also a very fucking cool sprite.
Yeah, for sure.
They are found in the Ice Cave, amongst other places later in the game.
That blizzard attack, holy shit, is it?
Holy shit. But if you can withstand that blizzard attack, it's only 200 hit points. 53 to 106 attack power, so they swing, mighty swing, and 1,701 experience for that. 2,000 gold, as Jay says, irrelevant. And my last one I picked is probably my most feared enemy in the game as a child. And I don't know how to say the word, so I'm just going to muddle through it. Also found in the Ice Cave, the Cockatrice.
Okay.
Those stupid things.
Yeah.
God damn. I mean, they've only got 50 hit points. They only have 1 to 2 attack power. They offer 186 experience, so not a lot of attack power, not a lot of hit points, not a lot of experience, not a lot of gold either. It's only 200, but they can turn you to stone, and then you're fucked.
I think I might. I mean, because there's the Paralisks too in the Earth Cave, and I think I did those. I feel like I might have done Cockatrice too. Or instead, rather, I feel like it was because it's the word means more to me than Perilous. But yeah, I think I did those on the last one, and yeah, they're fucking just the stone thing. I actually had one turn me to stone too, in the Ice Cave for sure. And
one party killed me. I had at a certain point in the Ice Cave, I I hit like I my red mage got caught by what was it? Sorcerer, and they have the rub ability.
Right.
It's weird. They don't list it as a spell, but like it's next to their attack. So one of these sorcerers just fucking bang rubbed him, and then I just had my fighter, and like a couple times later I encountered a party of enemies, and a cockatrice turned my other guy to stone, and that was it.
That's a bummer. Yeah, I didn't bump into this. The sorcerers were brought up.
What good role play too, right? Just have like a statue of a light warrior. They would still have the 2 fucking orbs in there too, or the 1 orb that I had.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't encounter any of the sorcerers because those were brought up a lot as the worst possible thing you can encounter in the ice cave, and I did not bump into one a single time in either of my. It might have been even 3 runs I ended up doing ultimately through the ice cave, and yeah, I didn't bump into one a single time.
Yeah, they've got that same wizard wizard sprite, which is really cool.
That's what I mean. I would remember it for sure because the wizards were such a, and we'll get to that in the grind, and then when we talk about the ice cave. But up until basically my ice cave run, my successful one, wizards were the thing I feared the most in this game. So it's surprising to me that I was not presented with the heightened version of those, and all the more certain I am that was the case because I would without a doubt think about it. Right, it would be significant to me to encounter them. So yeah, they're cool. What do those have? Do they? It's just rub? I would think they have a bunch of spells, don't they? Well, it's kind of like the wizards. The wizards only have lit 2, and it's like I can't believe they don't have more spells. So that actually doesn't surprise me. Come to think of it,
the wizard isn't listed as having lit 2. It's susceptible to lit. It's a water enemy.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, so yeah, it doesn't have lit 2. That's what I'm thinking of.
They just hit like a truck, and they have like good defense. So like, it's just hard to kill them.
But they're susceptible to lit. That's right. Yeah.
Correct. What was the question? I forgot.
Just whether or not the sorcerers had magic at all.
No,
it says rub. But.
It's so the attack is like a rub, and they've got, I don't know exactly what this means because like in the mage in the ice cave, it lists like rub, lit 3, fire 3, etc. None of them are inside parentheses. The sorcerer has stun in that same section, but the stun is in parentheses. So I think their attack can either stun you or use rub, and then I don't know.
Okay. Word.
I know what it did to me. It rubbed me, and night.
Well, you mentioned mages. Those are one of mine, actually. These are the white versions of Astos, so it's that really badass alien sprite, white instead of green, and they, have fucking rub, and that sucks. The numbers for them, they have 105 HP. Their basic attack does a 26 to 52 damage range, and they have no weaknesses or resistances of any kind. And these are the ones which the sorcerers might imply that the name of a sorcerer might imply that they have this, but it's actually with the mages, it is a true assumption or a validated assumption in that they have tons of magic. They have fire 3, they have bane, they have slow 2, they have lit 3, they have rub, and they have stun. So that's a fucking arsenal and a half, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
And
these lit 3 hitting you at this point is like, that's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
It's like when lit 3 gets cast on you in battle, you're like, oh shit, it's different now.
Yeah, that's a problem. Well, I mean, just the fucking, the. I guess maybe maybe I did write it down. I don't know, but if I didn't, I'll mention it now. The most, probably one of the main reasons I chose mage on top of really thinking the sprite's cool is, so when I texted you guys and I was like, hey, what's in that fucking room in the top left corner of level whatever? And you're like, that's something that I want.
Zeus Gauntlet.
Yeah. So I go back down from that, or up, whatever the fuck, you go through the stairwell to where the hole is you need to fall through to get the fucking floater. That level, I go back down from that into that area with all the chests and stuff that's kind of cave-like, and has the stalactites and shit as the borders. And, I'm walking all the way over there, and I'm checking in some little because I didn't know, and we'll get to that too, but I didn't know where to go to get out, so I was going back down there, I think actually when I encountered them, to try to find a stairwell to get me the fuck out of here. And then I went down into some dead end trying to find a stairwell because the map is a little blurry that I have the scan of it, so I couldn't tell if maybe there was a stairwell there. And I encountered mages, and sure enough, they fucking vaped one of my dudes with rub, and I was like, oh, you motherfucker.
And just for the listeners, there's no Zeus Gauntlet in the Ice Cave.
yeah, don't go looking for that.
I was wrong. I've got Castle of Ordeals mixed up.
Yeah, so those dudes suck.
Sorry about that.
It's okay, Jab. I think you're a twat, and whether or not that you give me that bad.
There's a variety of way low down the list.
So my next one is the Agamas, and I like one. I just like that sprite. That iguana sprite is cool. But these when I got into the grinding phase of working out of the volcano, these were a phenomenal value for the challenge presented because they're always by themselves. It's only one you get, and
that's nice.
Yeah, so it's easy to fucking clearly. Even with the bros, just attacking one thing is pretty fucking, it goes okay. So, yeah, and you'd only get one, and then I didn't even, I was checking the fucking wiki to do the notes for this, and I was surprised to find that it does have a fire attack that is a group thing, because it never used it on me. I never once had it attack me with it, but it has an attack called Heat that is I'm guessing it's probably below the Cremate and the
Blaze and Scorch.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's probably right around, I'd guess around Scorch, just guessing at this enemy's math and those Cerebuses. I guess it's around Scorch. Because the worst one is, what's the other? There's Agamas, there's...
Red Dragon has Blaze, Cerebus has Scorch,
what's the
Red Hydra has Cremate.
Red Hydra. So it must be. So I guess actually probably closer to Cremate then. It's definitely. I guess that they're more damaging than the Cerebuses, but probably not quite Hyenas or Hydras rather. So. Anyways, so they have 296 HP. Their damage range is 31 to 62. They're susceptible to ice and resistant to fire, as you might imagine. And that that's like everything else in the volcano. And then their XP, and this is why it's good. They're worth 2472 experience points, which is
through the roof.
Yeah, so it would come out to like 600 for each of my guys
for no sweat off your back.
Exactly, like almost no risk whatsoever. So yeah, that 31 to 62 that's not much at all damage wise. Right. So yeah, not a bad grinding thing, but didn't really find.
I mean, they got as much hit points as Giants, and Giants give you 1,506 experience. That's crazy.
Right. Exactly. And Giants were exponentially more dangerous because of their damage capability.
Indeed.
Which, funny you bring them up, are my third option, or my third select rather. So yeah, these were the one thing. Even when I was grinding in the volcano, I would still run from these. Because the math just didn't work out.
Yeah, Giant will fuck your day up. That's for sure.
Yeah. So they have 300 HP, which is on par with the Agama, but their damage range is a pummel-chucking 73 to 146. So yeah, it is just they hit like a fucking truck, man. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just not good to battle them. So I would run every time, and they're resistant to fire and weak to ice too. And yes, they're worth 1,506 gold, and same for XP. They're one of those dual same number deals. Mm-hmm. So that's the best year annals. Moving into Tales of the Grind. Jab, you go first. Talk to us about your grinding here. Did you even grind?
I was going to say, I think you were trying, because if you saw my screen, you probably put it together that I didn't grind. So if you were hoping to kill some time here, you can't, because I didn't. So I just went with what I had. I think I was like level maybe 20 last time we checked in, and I just went through and completed the story sections that I was going to complete. I was going to say required to complete for this podcast, but I didn't even do that. I just did my own shit for a little while, and I gained like 2 levels. I think I'm close to another one, but I didn't grind. If I were going to, I would probably still run back to the Peninsula of Power, but I also have the airship now, so I might like jump around the world. I've been like jet setting a little bit around the world, flying around, listen to that bopper, the airship music.
Yeah, the airship music is dope for sure.
Yeah. So I've just been kind of enjoying the skies, so to say.
Okay. Yeah, I had that thought when I was making the decision to move into the volcano out of the rivers, or the river. I considered going back to that Peninsula of Power and like thinking, like, are the zombies, because there are trolls in the.
Were you ever able to make the Peninsula of Power work?
I never really engaged it. No. By the time I imagine, this is what I kind of mean. By the time I was in a place where I could have really dealt with it, it was still more appealing to me to be right outside the Crescent Lake Inn. And I'm guessing, like I was going to say, because there are trolls in those woods right by Crescent Lake, so I would bump into trolls, and I was able to gauge how I could deal with those. I'm guessing zombies are a little worse still, or I imagine, I didn't check the numbers, but I'm guessing zombies are probably a little worse. So it probably would be a little more challenging than dealing with those, as far as being able to contrast like where I was at level wise to how I would deal with those, fighting them, routinely. So it probably still would have been a little bit valuable, but again, I would have had to. It would have been further away from an inn and just more of a pain in the ass. So I was just like, it's not worth the effort, Because with the honestly, one of the real beauties of it was so like, I mean, I could literally fire them. There were many times on this play when I was in my grinding phase or this episode's playing where I would fire my Nintendo up for like 7 minutes total. And literally just step outside Crescent Lake and do a few battles and fucking go do something else. Like literally waiting for Amy or something to fucking get ready or whatever the fuck it would be. Just like some like really short amount of time that I needed to kill or wanted to kill. I could pop in and just because I knew how much I would have to do of it. Just like every little bit counts, So
right.
It always made more sense to stay outside Crescent Lake.
Well, one day you're gonna have to go back to the club and kick the bouncer's ass.
That's true. Just to be able to say that I did because
that's the thing is like the bouncer might kick your ass 100 times, but like the 101st I kick your ass. All right, we're done here.
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, maybe after the class change. It's like you can role play that as like I don't know. Fucking whatever place Kanye couldn't get into before he became Kanye, and then like he does the fucking. It probably wouldn't. The person who wouldn't let him into the club wouldn't even remember him. But just for Kanye in his own internal thing, he can go back to that place and be like, just roll in, like fuck you. Like I will buy this place. You know what? Actually, I am buying this place.
I might.
I'm buying it and I'm shutting it down tomorrow. Suck my dick.
Right. Well, listen to me. You don't remember me, but I remember you, and fuck you.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll go shut that club down after I do the class change. Okay, Jay, how about you give us a little bit of grinding insight, but talk to us about the full scope of it.
Try to do more than Jeff.
Speaking of that club, back to the Peninsula of Power.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the last episode, we just beat the Lich, and so this time I took the boat with the canoe and went all the way around the northern side of the island, and parked up top, since before I was coming at it from the other way, down below. And just honestly stayed there from level 16 to level 20 before going back through, so... Peninsula of Power all the way, man. The zombies were still hitting hard, but with a harm 2 or 3... Good.
I'm so sorry to cut you off. I did that twice. That's shitty of me. But when you failed the volcano, you went back to the Peninsula of Power specifically.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's been the grinding spot where I know I'm going to get zombies, and it's going to give me the best bang for my buck. For sure.
Word. Okay, that's pretty
actually
simple.
Shorter than mine somehow. And most of your time was me interrupting you.
Right. I mean, I already mentioned once I settled into Crescent Lake, copped the canoe. I hung out there, or rather, copped the canoe from the gang of Shriners, which is what I kind of thought of those dudes as. the fucking the 12 Sages or whatever the fuck they're called. Yeah, I started hanging out in that river lake forest areas outside, and a single troll would pay for 3 instays, so it was pretty easy to keep the operation profitable around these parts, I would say. And I had a interesting thing happen. So I run into the Cobra enemies there too, and this was the first time I think I'd seen this, and I kind of forgot that it was possible, really. And I don't, again, I just don't remember it. Granted, it was a long time ago that I was playing this, but I just remember it ever happening. But a Cobra ran from me in battle, and
really,
yeah, I just had not really seen that much, and it was significant to me because it was the first time seeing it, and later on, once I got to 27, which it kind of raises the question to me, like, what level would we beat the game at as kids?
I have no idea, not a clue.
Like, I think 27 might be higher, and and like, yeah, I mean, by the time I beat Carrie at level 27, like, a lot of shit was running from me. So I mean, I shouldn't say a lot of shit, but plenty of shit would run from me, where it was like a common occurrence in battles for something to run. Even in the volcano, some things would run from me. So, Yeah, it must literally be. It's clearly not on a. It's not based off an actual threat.
I was gonna say the game's definitely not doing that math. It's just like 27, gotta run. And as they run away, the bros are like, "You would have whipped our ass."
Right? Yeah, but yeah, the first time that happened to me, I was like, "Oh, that's not something I feel like is a big part of this game." Enemies running from me,
Yeah, I've had things running.
That.
Really, I'm kind of surprised that you haven't actually.
Not at all. I mean,
I've had things.
I need to go do some leveling.
I'm not trying to like dig on you or anything, but I've had things running from me for a long time now.
Wow.
But I have a fighter, so it makes sense.
I guess, yeah. But that contradicts the theory that.
But it directly contradicts that theory.
Yeah, for sure. So on one of my many trips back from Gurgu, just before re-entering Crescent Lake, I encountered a single peed battle. Right, so. These are one of the things that would actually run for me quite a bit, and in this case, obviously, there's only the one enemy, so it runs, and the battle ends, of course. And I only had 3 living bros at the time. Jordan was ass up at the time, but the 3 that were alive still celebrated a victory, like they'd won the battle. And like I'm watching that happen, I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. I definitely haven't seen that yet because I didn't actually kill anything, but they're still happy and celebrating. And so I'm expecting to see 0 gold, 0 experience come up after that little celebration thing, and actually it's 1 XP and 0 gold. How about that, boys? Like, what the fuck? What is that? Like, well, I don't know. Like, explain that to me within the confines of the Final Fantasy lore. Like, what is happening there? Just seeing the enemy gives you like a little hint of battle hardness and experience. I don't know. It was a funny thing to me. That you got experience from enemies just running.
You've had a new experience that you've never had, therefore here's a little something, but really you did nothing.
Right. Here's a little fucking drizzle of experience.
Yeah, that's the like one experience is like the experience equivalent of,
right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, no shit.
Anyways,
yeah. Back to it. So the I mentioned about the actual flowchart of it was 26 is when I moved inside to the volcano to grind there, and when I ended up actually choosing as far as the locale to do so, I chose level 4, which is the level where you have kind of, I guess they're supposed to be pillars, not buildings, because you can't go inside of them, but there, basically the whole level is lava except for these clean non-lava tracks that surround the pillars, like a 1 square width track around each of, I guess, pillars, like I said. And I don't know. I chose that because, like I mentioned earlier, when grinding, like you're trying to, how little can I engage this video game while I do this? And most of this fucking volcano is kind of just like this random smattering of lava tiles here and there that you'd have to pay attention to avoid. And in this case, I could kind of half-ass pay attention and still just stay in the perfect little track around the pillar and just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Wait a minute. Am I to understand that you are saying you grinded inside on the 4th level of the volcano? Is that what you're saying?
At level 26, yes. Once I got to level 26, rather.
That is pretty crazy to me too, Jay.
I was just like,
I was gonna let him finish talking.
I'm like, maybe I'm
like,
misunderstanding what you're saying here.
No, yeah, I mean, because it's case in point, man. It's because it's why I had the mini freak out when I was describing that, because like, explain the math to me against the other enemies that are also hard that make you guys go, fuck you. How the fuck do you do that? But I can grind on them for long periods of time and then go down to carry and do 1 damage and have no hope of beating her. Like, what?
Wow.
Explain it to me. Explain it to me. You know what I mean? And that is where my frustration stems from. It's like, it doesn't make fucking sense. It doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I mentioned when I was talking about them in the bestiary stuff, the only thing I would run from, even the hydras at this point, when I came in here at 26, hydras were like, boom, fucking just like a 1 turn, dust them off, no risk thing. The giants, like I said, would still fuck me up a little bit if I. Like I could probably. It just goes all back to the numbers. It's like I could, it's not like I actually, as long as I didn't have lower health, because I mean, even at level 26, like those motherfuckers, when they hit on the high side of their damage, 143, it's not 143 damage, it's 143 hit power or whatever the fuck, damage power, and fuck, that 200 something sometimes. So, you know, if I'm at like half mast on HP, which normally going into any other battle I would be fine on, one hit from them can fucking wrap a guy up, and it's like, oh, that totally fucks up my grinding run.
Whole thing, right?
Right, and in here, because I'm not outside Crescent Lake and 4 steps away from the fucking clinic in the goddamn inn, like, that really fucks my goddamn life up. Now I gotta go spend some dumb time doing some dumb shit to actually be making headway again, you know, because you don't want to fucking have a dead guy in here grinding with. Wow. So yeah, this is what I would grind there, and yeah, it's funny to me how much, like, just how the aesthetic and mobility thing go into the grinding spot choice that you make. You know what I mean? Just like literally, I don't know, I've talked about, like, even, I remember we talked about it with Dragon Warrior. There's like the little, just south of, is that Cole, the town in the northeast corner of the map?
It's got the little desert to the southeast of it.
Yep, with the little forest tiles in the middle of the desert, the little oasis. Yeah. Like, I just, something about that was appealing to move my sprite around in, and like that was just a great, and like it was the same thing happening here. Because like, I had to, like, level 1 and 2, the enemies are a little fucked. You get those wizard fucking ogres and the hyenas and stuff, and those are just like, they're not threatening, but they also, it's not worth the fucking time, you know what I mean? Right. So you have to like go to a level where you're actually going to engage shit that's worth your time, but also not environmentally be a disaster. Just as far as like what you have to move around in to do the grinding physically. So like finding the sweet spot between those two, that was the best I could find level 4. So
yeah, I mean, it just total party kill freaks me out. Like all that fucking work and just go down the toilet.
It was not that threatening at that point, All
right then.
Ice Cave is up next, and to get here, as the Explorer's Handbook recos, you have to trundle your ass back to your ship at the Crescent Port and sail up the small gulf, or up to the small gulf of the river mouth you can sail directly into, and then navigate another tributary maze to the northwest. And I, kind of miraculously to me, managed to take the wrong path at every single fork in the road possible on my first trip here, which was fucking really impressive, I think. But you get there, and it is just a plain old cave entrance. Nothing special going on here as far as the entry sprite goes. And so I'm coming here off of, I think, either one of my first few fails. I don't know if it was like 20 or 21. I didn't write down here that I first came here, but it was, it was like the alternative recommendation by both Facebook disciples and you guys. They're just like, fucking, I don't know, try this. That's not going to work. That's the only other option. Try that. So I was like, okay, fucking fine. I don't see how it's going to go well. But so yeah, I came in here, it was like 20 or 21 maybe. And my very first fight on the first floor was 6 Wizzies. And I couldn't run from them. And I just stood up and hit reset. I didn't even like.
Nope.
So I had done the house save outside, so hitting reset just meant I was coming back in. So I did try it again, but it was just funny to me that was fuck.
Literally, probably walk in, just like nope.
Yep, the worst buzzkill possible is what immediately happened. And so yeah, so then on the second run through, I hit 3 mages that just fucking wasted me with the rub spells, and that was when I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work either. Like, I just need to level and stick with the Gurgu idea, because this is not by any length easier than what I'm trying to accomplish. At least with Gurgu, I can make the progress of going all the way to carry, no problem for the most part, and then fail, as opposed to like I'm on level 1 here and getting dusted off. Right. Like just no fucking hope whatsoever. So that was my first experience coming in here, and I guess maybe we can take a step out, because I wouldn't come back here until post Gurgu at level 27 to have a different experience. So I don't know, maybe well, Jab, I assume you did do this, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
I had to.
Right.
I did the Ice Cave. I was level 20. My fighter and my red mage are like level 20 or 21 at this point. And like I said, this was, Jay kind of hurt my feelings a little bit when he was like, oh, marsh cave and ice cave are nothing. This was the first point in the game that I actually had difficulty. Okay. And I imagine if I actually if I had actually taken the time to grind 5 or 6 more levels, I don't know, it actually might not have made a huge difference because there's so many one-hit kills in here.
Right.
Like you can either be turned to stone or you can get rubbed. I swear there's a joke in there somewhere. I just wish I could find it.
Oh yeah, I have one later. Yeah, they don't they don't rub me out. They rub me. There's a difference.
Right, so, there it is. Okay, thank you. Every time I reference that spell, I'm like, God, I just need the joke.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to think though, man. I mean, like I mentioned with the Fire 2 stuff that I noticed, like your resistance to those one-hit kills probably also has to scale also. No?
I guess I wouldn't know. I mean, I would have to, you'd have to get the data.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it does.
Because what is it? I think the cockatrice. The cockatrice? Now I'm just saying cock. That bird that turns you to stone in the ice cave. Whatever it is that uses that spell. I don't know if it's just an attack or if it's like gaze or something like that.
I think it's just part of their attack. I think they turn you to stone with an attack. Yeah.
Yeah, so you would just have to I don't know, see how many times you can get hit before you got turned to stone. I don't know, that'd be a tough one.
And I definitely did. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I would get into failed run states with those battles and stuff, and yeah, they would do a bunch of them would do 1 damage, 2 damage, and it is because there's so few misses in this. Well, no, not with the enemies. They miss all the time, I guess. But anyways, when the shit would happen, I'm like, you stare and it's okay, it's going to be 1 damage every time or some small number. It's like you see that and you have to I don't know, there's not that it comes on the screen at a different time, but you're processing the information in the way human beings have been taught to process things, left to right, top to bottom. So there's a brief nanosecond of going from the damage realization to the bottom row where it's going to tell you whether or not you got turned to stone. And every time I have that little flowchart happen, there's a moment of
every time they swing on you, you're like, oh fuck.
Right.
I had a little bit of difficulty here. Although I said I was going to try and find a way to make the game challenging. I didn't really stick with it here because I thought we were recording yesterday. So I was just doing this right before recording time. So I save stated in the cave. And an interesting thing happened, which was I save stated and then literally the next step I was going to get into a fight. So I got into a fight with sorcerers and they rubbed my red mage, boom, gone. And I was like, less than ideal. So I loaded the state real quick, and then I took another step, and boom, rub again.
Oh man, I was hoping you were going to. Okay, so the random fucking battle generation.
I was scared.
Yeah,
I was actually scared that time. So what were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, that's just I the second you started this topic, I hope that's where it was going because I am curious to know how I don't know. So are you telling me were you able to load state it and have that not happen? Is that
nope.
where the so every time? Okay.
Well, yeah. Basically, I was let me see if I can find it real quick. I was on that level where I told you the Zeus Gauntlet was. So I was just about to head south on that map, and I'd gone up to the top left corner and grabbed the Silver Gauntlet and the Ice Armor. And then I headed back towards the center of the map, and I was going to go south and east towards the stairs. And I saved, and then I got waxed, and then I loaded, and I walked in every direction. I took all 4 directions, and each 4 directions, I was dealing with the same exact fight.
Okay, yeah, that's so interesting to know exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah, so
I wonder
it's got to be a certain number of steps.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. So it's.
And it must be randomly generated because when you load from your Nintendo, you're not just going everyone's different, It's not I walked into the ice cave and it was 6 wizards, reset, and then you walk in, bang, 6 more wizards. It's changing something.
Yeah, there's no question that your random number generator or whatever when you power on the actual NES, no question is going to repopulate or whatever. But yeah, I'm curious what would the terminology be the cycle? The cycle range of how often that resets, is it 8 steps? Is it 4 steps? Is it, what the fuck is it?
I think it's more like there's logic built in to a certain area. Like, you are going to encounter this enemy regardless. So when you are in this area, no matter where you go, you're going to, within this range, you're going to encounter this enemy. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily about the time. It's like, if you're going, like, there's logic built in to ensure that you encounter this enemy. You know what I mean? And they want you to encounter this enemy on this stage.
I think that's disproven by the fact that I never once encountered the sorcerers.
But you said you did encounter. Didn't you say
no? I never encountered mages. I did sorcerers. No, never.
Wizards as well. These words are all kind of the same.
Right.
I'm like, we're talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's
maybe it's like when you go to when you hit a new level, like when you use the stairs and you go to a different
level.
Right.
That's yeah, and clearly we're literally just firing fucking guesses into the ether, but like that. Not that I know a ton about programming on the fucking 6502 assembly or anything but like I feel like just like the logic of my understanding of how computer code works in the most rudimentary way that I do, like I feel like that makes a lot, like that would be a reasonable reset point, to me, because I mean, I just don't see how, I guess maybe really what I'm saying is I don't see how, like, because you think about computer code, there has to be an actual line of code that makes it reset. You know what I mean? It's not going to be something, unless it is a time-based thing. There's not, like, what is the command of just walking around that's going to make it go, okay, this is a time we should reset. Unless it's time, I just don't see how there could be any line of code that would be appropriate to incentivize that, other than, like, yes, changing a level. So, like, okay, now stairs, go to line whatever in code. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, I feel like there has to be either got to be time, or there's got to be an environmental based thing.
By time, do you mean steps?
Yes, time. Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, because time wouldn't matter. I could have stayed in that spot for 100 hours, and it wouldn't have changed the fact that the next step is a battle.
Right.
So yeah, I got caught with that, and I was like, all right, well, you save stated, like, just fucking try to finish it with one guy. I think. Yeah, I had not actually even completed the battle. Yeah, I hadn't even encountered the eye yet. So I've just pushed forward with just me, just the fighter, and let me see. Oh, then yes, that's why I was scared. So then later on, at some point, I got caught with another battle, and it had some cockatrice in it, and they turned me to stone, and I was like, oh fuck. Like,
there's just nothing you can do.
There's nothing I can do, right? So what I did.
Are you save stating like per level, or are you like?
No. I had only save stated that one right before the sorcerer fight. Well, actually, I think what I did was, once I accepted that my red mage was going to die from that encounter, and it was always the red mage that got hit. It was never the fighter. So, like, even the attack, the attack itself and the target of the attack was pre-programmed. So that never changed. Once I accepted
that's crazy as fuck too. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking. Save states are dangerous, man. I'm playing on hard mode, I'll have you know.
It's like you're going back in time. You keep trying to change the past, and it's like, the red mage is doomed.
And you know what? This game is about time travel. Lots of people don't know about that. So yeah, like what was before is now, and what is now will be in the future. I think. So yeah, there's actually a little bit of room for roleplay there. Thank you. What I did was, I think I saved after that, and then it might have even been like maybe even the next encounter, but like not like the next step. It was like 30 steps later. I was getting turned to stone, and I was like, well, I know that I'm just going to get this repeating battle now, and I know I'm going to get turned to stone. So what I did then was, and I think I had to load a couple times to like get the right bird, the right cockatrice. Instead of just trying to run, I had to like attack one, and then maybe I attacked that one, maybe I even killed it, and then his buddy turned me to stone. So, okay, it's not the first bird. You go down to the next one. And eventually, because I don't think there's not an on-screen indicator that tells you like which enemy's attacking.
Right, that's such great fence testing. Yeah, that's great.
So, basically, I killed the thing, and then I did not have a problem with insta-kills. Going forward, I got to the eye. I mean, I used the fucking the map, because like these holes, like if you didn't know what you were doing, like that's the other thing is like I don't know that we necessarily had access to these maps like with the holes and everything that you're supposed to jump into. I don't know that we always had that.
Well, I'll tell you right now,
because the ice cave is fucking like if you're not looking at a map, the ice cave is fucking hard, Jay. You're not going to disparage my favorite cave in this game anymore, okay?
Yeah. No, yeah, I had no, I haven't opened the strategy guide once, which is why I was asking you, because I knew you were, about...
Is that map not available to you with the things that we have, or that we're supposed to have?
Well, the map, yeah, it's the last map on that pack-in map thing, but the maps on there are not, like I said, it's kind of a fuzzy scan, so you can't even see stairwells and shit, like the holes. I mean, you can see the holes, but it's, they're not great maps by any length, and they don't have any detail about where anything is or any sort of direction. They're just literally like really, really, really blank canvases of the outlines of these dungeons. So they are helpful, but they don't help you make decisions necessarily. They just show you the environment that you need to navigate. Okay. They don't give you any incentive of which way to deal with it or how to deal with it. So yeah, I mean, and the way I would eventually have to work my way out of here, like I still don't know how those holes work. Like I mean, I know the one hole obviously drops you down to the floater, but that's the only hole I understand. I mean, I think the way I gathered it, and maybe I didn't try them all, so I'm not sure about this, and I wasn't going to bother to do so because fucking who cares. But I went in more than one hole in that room full of holes, and each one of them took me to the same place inside that building.
Right back.
So yeah, so I expected when I got into that room the first time that I needed to make some sort of informed decision about which hole to go into. Otherwise, where I fell to might be shitty. So I had some sort of like subconscious urge to go to the one on the left that was like, there's like a little bit of an inlet to get to it. It's below, I think it might be above or like the chest on the left creates the inlet basically, and I went into that hole thing, and it was like some sort of kind of like, like Jay, you and I talked about that level 4 boss on Batman, when I just like the second I saw the screen, I was like, I need to go on top of that pillar. Like I don't know why, I just know that's what I have to do, and I had that kind of thing going on here with what hole I chose. And when I fell down to a place that wasn't awful, I was like, ooh, it worked. And then later on when I have to go back through there trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of this place, I went in a different hole just to try it to see if it would take me to a place that was different and would get me to a stairwell that would get me out of here. And I fell to the same place, and I was like, oh, that's kind of defeating to some degree. So yeah, I had no idea how to deal with these holes. I guess is kind of what I'm getting at there with that runaround jab. Like I had no idea what to do with these fucking things.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and like now that I think about it, it might not actually be that difficult to parse out. Like B1, you're the main one. There's a room. There's a long rectangle room that has 3 chests at the end of it.
On what level is this?
This is B1. So it's a little tricky because it's the first floor, but you can't access this part.
Right, the left-hand side of it. Right, yeah.
Right. Okay, so there's that room in there with 3 chests, and they have the ice shield is in there. Everything else is non-important.
Yep, and then there's the hole right in front of the third.
That's the one you want to go in.
Exactly.
That's the only one that matters. That takes you to the floater. All the other holes surrounding the floater are just going to take you back to that one section where I told you in the top left there was a Zeus gauntlet.
Right, exactly. That room, and that is a runaround room for sure.
Right. So once you get the floater, you step in any hole, you fall back to that one room. You go down to the right, you find the stairs, which takes you to B1. You come out of that room, you go all the way to the right. There's your stairs. I guess it's not that hard to figure out, but
yeah. But see, I didn't see those because I knew, because the way that map is, and it doesn't. Yeah, like I said, the stairways are borderline. I can't really even see them. So I didn't, the map didn't tell me that stairwell was there. So when I went through, obviously there's only the one hole in that room. So clearly, I very immediately remember, like, oh yeah, that's going to give me the floater, obviously. So, you get the fucking 3 chests, fall through that, get the floater. And of course, when you fall into that fucking, how much, let me ask you guys this, just so I don't forget about it. When you fall down that single hole to get to the floater chest, I could not have been, there's no way I could have given more care to each step I was taking to get to that chest and making sure I didn't fall down one of those surrounding holes. Because there's no fucking guard railing or anything.
I feel like I specifically remember like at least one time where like you and I were playing this, and it's just like, okay, we're here. Shut the fuck up.
Fucking be cool. Be carefully. Be cool.
Then you fucking fall down, and you're just like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I could totally see that for sure. Because I was ultra fucking careful, and it's only 3 steps, but you do have to make a turn, and I am using this fucking joystick that it's not a D-pad. And like, I don't give a shit how much precision you try to use, there is some variance and possibility of failure there. And I was ultra careful.
And like, not to mention like just the controls in this game aren't super responsive in the first place.
Right, yep.
So like you can hit, quote, the up button and not move.
Yep.
So you're like, oh fuck, I'll like press it a little harder. Oh, now you've moved too.
Yeah, even with the D-pad, I mean, you can, clearly, if you literally set the controller down and use your index finger and hit the up arrow, there's almost no chance of failure there. But if you're using your thumb, it is super easy to get a little left or get a little right in there when you hit up, and maybe take an errant step. It's very possible if you're just casually D-padding around. So yeah, I mean, that the NES Advantage is not the only method of input that can fucking fail you here.
100%.
Yeah, extra fucking careful.
I mean, I got the shit, and then I got out. Actually, other than that little save state scare, not a whole lot to report.
So yeah, Jay, talk to us about your ice cave venture.
Pretty simple.
Jeez.
So you mentioned earlier. No big deal.
No big deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, but so imagine this. I mean, after the Gurgu Volcano, feeling pretty good. Everything's fine. But then I'm looking at the map that we're using here, and to your point, I can't really tell what I'm looking at. It's so small. I'm zooming in, and then it gets blurry.
Right.
So it's like I can't see. So I just Googled and pulled up a different map, but that map had like A to here. It had like where to go, like little markings. Like, So I was like, oh, well, I mean, I guess I'm going to use this. So
I've already seen it.
I already know where to go. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, with that, though, I still kind of went, even though I was going the right direction, I still made a misstep, went in the wrong hole, and had to kind of circle back through. So I got that experience. But then, I mean, the fights weren't bad. Like, I wasn't worried about like dying or anything like that, which was good. I just didn't want to have to go. Looking at that like third level, I'm like, I don't want to go the wrong direction and have to like fight a bunch of crazy creatures the wrong direction, the wrong space. Right. So yeah, so with that knowledge, it's pretty straightforward. But
that's why you feel that way about the space then, because this is about like you make the wrong step and I'm gonna go through a fucking bunch of frost fucking dragons again.
Like doing this with a map that I couldn't use or no map, like I feel like this would be terrible.
Nah, I can tell you. I mean, like I said, I when Jab gave you that errant information, I immediately started backtracking and going back through that run around level, and
you go through a lot of frost there too.
Yeah, it was frustration and fear inducing for sure. Even though like I said, I wasn't. I mean, I'll get to it with mine, but I mean, coming back to level 27, it was a totally different ball game, and I was not nearly as worried about just the base level track of getting through it, but with repetition, anything becomes difficult. So.
But I also came here with 99 heal potions and softs, so I was prepared. I was like, let's go.
Now he does it.
You had 99 softs? Or
yeah, I bought 99 of both. I was like, let's
go,
just in case.
You bought
99 softs is completely the other end of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah,
I have 4 softs. Actually, 3 now because I used one in the ice cave. I have 3 softs. Which is probably
maybe I didn't. I have 99. I definitely bought 99 heals. Maybe I didn't have 99 softs. I think I had 50 softs.
That would be a lot. It's still a lot of work. It's a lot of
800 a pop too. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
Hey, I was making sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a little hint. You could probably not buy any more softs for the rest of the game. You're gonna be good.
Yeah. And if you do need to buy more, we need to talk about
wrong.
We need to talk about it.
That'll make for a really good Tales of the Grind.
I only have 2 left, so whatever I had. Maybe I was going to buy that many and didn't buy them.
Or maybe you're talking about Pures. You might be talking about Pures, maybe.
Gotta be.
I'm talking about Pures.
Yeah, soft is fucking $800 a pop, dude. 800 times 50.
And there's just not that
40,000.
Yeah, I definitely had 50 Pures. Soft, no, only like 10 soft.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yep. Okay, well,
it's 40,000 gold on fucking soft.
yeah. So, I mean, I could do that though, and not even think twice about it if I wanted to.
Oh yeah, I mean I could, but this guy has an actual real party.
Yeah. Hey, I still have gold. I still have 134,000 gold right now, just sitting, collecting no interest.
in a non-interest bearing account like a fucking peasant.
Fisher College of Business would not co-sign on this behavior.
Yeah.
What's the crypto equivalent in the Final Fantasy world?
It's fucking I don't know, but thinking of NFTs in a medieval fantasy sense is a funny thought to me. Like cave paintings. Like, here, I'm going to sell you this cave painting. You own this cave painting. This is your cave painting, buddy. It has value.
So unique.
Yeah, I know it just looks like a shitty doodle, but you want to have this as an investment.
Think of your future.
Yeah. This cave isn't going anywhere, so it's going to over time.
Yeah. That's actually what it is. Yeah, I'm not selling you the cave. Listen, you can't have the cave, but this image on the wall in the cave, you own that. You can't come in the cave. You cannot come in the cave. If you come in the cave, I'm going to bust your ass. But this thing on the wall, you always know it's yours.
No matter what, until the end of time, that's yours and yours alone.
Yeah, if you want, you can come over here and doodle the doodle that you own onto something so you can see the doodle in your own life. But you can't come in the cave and actually look at the actual doodle.
It'll really be yours. It's yours, but it'll never really be yours.
That's good. Fucking Final Fan. Yeah, fucking medieval NFT.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
There's a short film. There's something. Right. That's something to be exploited. They
call that material.
Yeah, there's an internet hit in there somewhere for sure. I'll get to work writing that.
Probably pissing a bunch of our fans off too.
I don't know. I'm gonna put that poll up. I want to know. Do you believe in NFTs? I want to know what our listenership's belief in NFTs are for sure. That would be interesting to know, to understand that cross section of interests. Because I feel like old school RPG players or old school gamers in general would, generally speaking, not be huge believers in NFTs. That's my hypothesis. I don't feel like there would be a lot of overlap in those Venn diagrams because of just I think part of believing in NFTs and digital ownership is just a younger thing, and I think most of our listeners are probably not necessarily in that age group. So I would guess most of them think it's bullshit and find that hilarious, but maybe not. We'll see. I'll put the poll up and find out.
Oh my god, we could sell NFTs of their... No, we probably couldn't because it's not ours, but we could sell NFTs of their favorite sprites from the game.
Oh, we could just do NFTs. We could do an NFT on my dumbass video of beating Carrie. Like that actual video. That's what it is. And this is just me guessing because I don't really pay attention to NFTs. Funny enough, my buddy Danny, who was over here waking me up drunk at 8 a.m. he is an NFT maniac, and he keeps trying to get me... He bought me one for my birthday, he spent like $1,200 on an NFT.
Holy shit!
Oh, dude, if you think that's nothing.
I know, but
this dude was he told me last week he transacted. He did over $1 million in transactions. I mean, that's not ownership. That's transacting. Sell, buy, whatever.
Right.
But I mean, he does a ton of it. He's made a ton of. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you make money on scams, Danny. Like, yes, people make money on scams all the time. Like, yes, I understand that you're making money, but it's still a scam.
I have no doubt. I would never deny. Yes, you can make a lot of money doing crypto and NFTs. Absolutely. But you can make a lot of, as the analogy goes, but if somebody will buy your Beanie Baby for $1 million, you can make a lot of money selling Beanie Babies too.
Right. And, that's exactly what it is.
But that doesn't change.
It doesn't mean that Beanie Baby is worth $1 million.
Exactly. It's not worth. That's fine. I mean, what's the Civ 4 quote? You wouldn't know because you're an asshole. It's for one of the texts that you research, the Leonard Nimoy voiceover is everything is worth what its purchaser will pay for it.
Right.
And that's true.
That's a true fact. But that doesn't mean it has value.
It doesn't mean it has value, though. And like that's if you read between the lines, that's what that quote is actually saying.
Yeah.
To that purchaser, it does. So.
Yeah.
I mean, they think they know. They just have the wrong idea.
But no, what I was gonna say is the only like the to my knowledge, the biggest, at least I don't know. Again, there's just so much of it happening, and I'm not following any of it, so I'm probably completely wrong on this. But I know one of the big significant NFT sales of recent happenings within the last year or two is that LeBron video of it's just like I don't even know what it is. I think it's like someone's camera phone
involved in NFTs. So, if I needed any more reason to dislike this guy.
I'm sure he is. Anyone, he probably is. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't even know if it was him selling it. I have no idea. Like I'm guessing because all those. I mean, I guess it could be like a sideline photographer. Like I follow a guy on Twitter that's a Bill sideline photographer, so his footage that he posts is like really close up his own personal captures, and none of that makes it onto the broadcast. The Bills use some of it for some of their like web content videos, I think, but like what he posts is like his own shit, and I think he owns it. So if he were to sell a clip of his, just the one version of it supposedly, and now that person would own it, like that, I think that is what the LeBron one was. That just like and that could have been. I mean, literally, and I don't know this to be the case, but it could have just been a rich kid sitting in the front row that fucking recorded on his iPhone because it's his video. He owns that video, even though I mean it's trademarked shit. He couldn't repurpose the video, and the person who owns the video still probably needs to do something to do any sort of true exploitation of it. But it's not like a broadcast version. It's not like a NBC broadcast video. It's a video of LeBron dunking or some shit, to my understanding. And it could have been captured by anyone with any device. And but that single ownership of that thing belongs to whoever the fuck paid $1 million for that NFT, and now they own this piece of video that I'm not even sure they can exploit if they wanted to, but they are the ones that own it, and that's the whole thing. Even though it's just a piece of digital content, they are the sole owner of it, and that's what they bought with the NFT, even though I don't know what the fuck the value could be for it other than them saying they own this video of LeBron dunking or whatever it is, it's just NFT. You can dance yourself in circles talking about NFTs and like what it means to say you own something like that, but
I mean, that just goes to show that money is not real.
No, it's definitely not.
It's all fucking made up. And
that's my
the only thing that produces actual wealth is labor. That's it. Other than that, it's fucking completely made up. It's all spreadsheet and number jumbling and fancy mathematical tricks.
Oh, for sure. Up. I mean, my whole thing with Danny, I'm like, like crypto is not like the U.S. dollar is. It's the U.S. government's crypto is all it is. They have they were making it up then, but even when it was on the gold standard years ago, even then you're just believing what they tell you they have gold wise. Like you don't have any. They don't let you go in there and check it out and see if they have that.
Right
much
when
gold.
They give you $1, it's not like, hey, let me check out Fort Knox real quick.
Right, exactly. It's just you're just buying into the belief that monetary provider or that provider of this money has what they say they have, and this is your share of it. You're just buying into that with real money. But now it's not even like it's not even connected to the gold standard anymore. It's just
not at all.
Now they're just totally making it up. And everyone knows that. And it's still everyone still walks around, some people at least using it to this day. So money is just a completely fictitious abstract construct. It goes without saying, and crypto is no different in that regard, so when you look at it like that, it is no different, but even though I don't believe in the U.S. government at all for virtually anything, I still believe in their abstract construct of money more than I believe in some tech assholes telling me that Ethereum is worth money. Like they're two I hate both assholes, but I believe this asshole a little more.
Yeah, I don't know how else I would put it.
Right, yeah, that's my counter argument to it all.
Yeah.
Whoa, our listeners are gonna be like, "What about Final Fantasy, guys?"
Shut up! I hate you. I was thinking about stopping listening to this podcast, and now I'm pretty well sold. I'm not fucking listening to this anymore.
right. So yeah, coming back in here post Gurgu at level 27, it was a whole different deal. So like I walk in here and I get into, it wasn't the very first one, but a level 1 fight against 7 Wizzies, right? And even at level 27, I still have a mini freak out, and I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. And I try to run. And I can't run, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm still fucked in here. Holy shit, I'm not gonna be able to do this. And then I let it play out, and half of them ran from me.
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah, and they just, their damage was nothing, and I just dusted their ass off. But yeah, it was just such a, I don't know, like an emotional turn to be. I was terrified for a brief moment, and then one of them ran. I'm like, oh.
Well, you're probably the first assholes to wander in the cave in 400 years since civilization fell. So they were probably like, "Fuck, I got to get back and check on my cave NFT."
Sure. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Is somebody here now? Fuck my NFT.
I gotta protect my NFT. Yeah.
They said no one will ever come in this cave, and here's 4 new assholes.
Yeah, they're here for my NFT.
No way, these NFT people lied to me. I'll stop. That's it. I'm
the eye downstairs is the guy. He's the one making the NFTs.
Definitely selling the NFTs. 100%.
Oh man, that's never gonna die. This track of jokes is gonna carry on in perpetuity, I'm afraid.
Yeah, if somebody else thinks I got bad news, it seems recurring.
Okay, so level 2B has the 3 chests in the holes, and this is where we kind of talked about this already, I guess. But the right one, they're protected. These are as I expected them to be. They're protected. They have the automatic battle in front of them. So the right one had mages rubbing me out, not rubbing me, but rubbing me out. This is why I wrote the joke down right here. And here's the kicker: that mage has cloth, or that chest has just a cloth in it, which is that's even a bigger fuck you than a heal, or even the 10 gold, I think, or even empty.
It might be the worst possible real quick thing. It works for the joke. On a cloth.
Right. Yep.
You found a tissue.
Exactly right. Yeah. So the left one, also, I think maybe that one wasn't protected because I didn't write a fight down. But in any event, that one has the flame sword in it, and that's cool weaponry, but not frat bro enabled weaponry. So yeah, did you use that's worth asking, Jay. Did you use the flame sword?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Are they really worse stat-wise?
What sword are you rocking right now?
Yeah, the silver, I assume.
Silver. Yep, silver everything still. Right now.
Still. And that's better than
I have the dragon sword. I tried to use it, just nothing. So I'm just still going silver.
Fuck, I don't even know what sword I'm using. When you have a fighter, it doesn't matter. You just kill everything.
I want to know, because it's one thing. I don't use it because I can't use it, so I didn't bother to look at the numbers, but it makes me want to look at the numbers here and find
Silver
out.
Silver sword, 23 damage, 15 hit percentage. Mm-hmm. You're out of your mind, Jay. Flame sword's 26 and 20.
Jay not doing the math. I guess it's not hard for him anyways. Maybe he's just trying to make it actually interesting for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ice Cave anyways.
Yeah. I'm taking home all the NFTs. Fuck you guys. I don't even need to try.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I'm still using the silver sword too.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. If I just didn't want to go back through, if I didn't notice it, because I definitely had the list of all these things, and I'm like, I determined that I didn't need anything else, so I must have just
oh, you didn't even get it.
That one.
You didn't even
I don't even have it. I don't think unless I picked it up and dropped it. It's definitely not on my person right now at all.
Well, not having it makes it way more difficult to equip, so that at least makes sense.
Yeah, Ice sword's even better than the flame sword.
So if you fall down those holes, you get to that level 3B area. So there are treasure room. The treasure room at the bottom it's almost funny to me how much gold it has in it. It has 6 chests. The numbers are 7,900, 9,900, 5,450, 5,000, 180, and then 12,350, which is without a doubt the highest number we've found in a chest so far. There's been no other 5-digit number, I don't believe. So shit ton of gold, and if gold matters to you, you're probably like, holy shit.
Definitely take that.
I mean, that is a set of steel armor, is it not?
Steel armor is 45,000.
Right. So 12 to 35. I mean, that's if it's super close. If it's not, just doing quick math in my head. So if it's not 45, it's super close total. So that's fucking awesome. But if you're the financially independent bros, it means nothing to you. So that's what it meant to me. And yeah, the staircase on the right of that level is the part that, or the one that takes you back up to the part of level 1 where you're partitioned off from when you first go through level 1. And those chests are chests in those rooms. You have a heal potion and another 10 Gs in the left room. And then you go to the room on the right with the hole in it, and that has 9,500, a tent, and then the ice shield. Yeah. And I wrote a very sus hole in the ground. Yeah, bros can't use a shield, obviously, which is a bummer. But yeah, you plumb through that hole down to the fucking where the eye is and the chest with the floater in it. And yeah, super careful moving through there. But yeah, you battle the eye here. So the eye, awesome fucking sprite. Love the fucking sprite. Really fucking cool.
Yeah, and with the landscape painting at the top, it's very very dark.
Yep, no doubt. Yeah, pink eye and shit is really cool. The great color scheme, I guess, in line. Like it's an eye. Like there's it's not frost themed like you might assume the mini boss here would be, but it's in the color scheme. It's like a calculated thing to make it aligned, but not entirely within expectation, I guess.
Right.
And it's also interesting that it doesn't have a sprite. Like I wonder, it's like the vampire has a sprite, and I guess I'm just kind of surprised that there's no sprite here,
What do you mean no sprite?
No sprite.
Oh, like on the screen, right. On the map screen.
Yeah, I wonder if because of the layout of it, I mean, they could have just made it go away.
They could have made it different, right?
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. I'd be curious. That's one of those things that Jay...
Also, just like the surprise of it, Like
right.
that could be the narrative function of no sprite, is just like, oh, like I got some new chests and these obviously are surrounded by holes. They're going to be dope. Oh, surprise fight.
Yeah, that's true. But that's one of those things, Jay, that we've talked about where, like, it's not worth it. And the answer is probably, we didn't even think about it. But, like, one of those things you just love to talk to the developers and be like, what was the thought here, Even though the answer is probably there was no thought. So, anyways, the numbers with the eye, it has 162 HP. The damage range is 30 to 60. It has no weaknesses. It is resistant to quake. It can cast stone, rub, and I don't know. How would you guys verbalize this? Quadruple X? Like what do you say there? Like how would you say that?
Fuck.
Yeah, it's like the comic strip fucking cuss word, yeah.
Right.
That's a good way maybe to do it. But yeah, so XXX X rather, a fourth one. And so those like, and I don't know, it did not cast rub. It did X on me, or the X is on me. It was ineffective though. So I had to go back and check the wiki to even be positive that it was an insta-kill. That is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it has both rub and that it needs.
Yeah, and I wonder how they vary.
Right. If at all. I mean, I guess you'd think one's just maybe more. And actually, you know what? Because this is a spell that you can get. It's a level 8 spell. So it's essentially the higher version of rub, basically.
Yeah,
but it is a level 8 black magic spell, I noticed, which I did not remember, and I feel like maybe also doesn't work, and that's why I didn't remember it. But
yeah, well, that's the thing is, I feel like level 8, you're not spending your level 8s on a fucking chance.
Right.
I'm casting nuke with my level 8.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Right. But yes, it is just the two different iterations of the same spell family, which is interesting. And it has one of those dual XP and gold same number deals, 3225, which I didn't even know it because I was just like, oh, I won, time to get the fuck out of here kind of thing when I was playing. I didn't even really.
And I told you, I was like 30 minutes late, but I told you, I was like, people level there.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. I would guess. And I guess maybe that's a question. Is it always there? Yeah, because the wizards are always there.
Yeah, it's a chest guardian fight, yeah.
Yep, those are always there, yep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was thinking, I was like, maybe I got to go back and grind on this fucking thing for sure. If I need to grind it. Like, I don't even know. That's kind of the thing. Like, I have a little bit of
now you're getting too big for your britches.
Well, I have a little bit of a theory that, yes, I have essentially over-leveled myself to the degree that once I do a class change, these dudes are just going to be a fucking, going nuclear at all times.
I didn't know. I didn't realize they had access to so many swords once they became ninjas.
Yeah.
But like looking around, just like off the top of the dome right here, giant sword, ninja, flame armor, ninja. I mean, boom, there you go. That's Connor.
Yeah.
Like done.
That's Connor. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, can't wait to deck them out. I'm excited.
Oh, that's another thing. You have to you have to like kind of come up with personalities for each of your ninjas, and as I said, you should. Well, maybe the listeners could also do this. Like, they could vote on their favorite ninjas.
That's a good poll.
Like, too, Jordan will be like, Chris Farley, Beverly Hills Ninja, and right. You guys read the fucking the group chat thing, but yeah, everybody send your favorite ninjas in, and Josh will assign their personalities to his ninjas.
Yeah, that's a fun game too, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna have a whole. It's gonna require a multi-stage Google form with different types of input, radio inputs, short answer inputs, all sorts of inputs to get all the data we need to collect from this little.
If I had to guess, I would think that people are very opinionated about their fictional ninjas.
I'm sure, yeah, dude. Yeah, ninjas are. I think every time we encounter ninjas, it's like the funnest thing ever. Fucking ninja options,
Look at you.
Ninja options and shurikens. There's just I don't know, something about ninjas is just hilarious and fun.
There is something really like there's a cultural thing that's just like ninjas are a blast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, dude. Yeah, at the very beginning of this, that was my whole thing. That was why I chose this dumbass. I shouldn't say that's why I chose. I chose it because I thought it would be weird and hard, but the justification for taking on that strife was at the end of this fucking thing, I will have 4 ninjas, which is fucking hot,
which nobody else can say.
Right. Yeah. That's fucking dope. So yeah, for sure. Ninjas are a blast. That's a fun little thing to do with them. So yes, you kill this fucking thing. Inside's the floater, of course, and that means you can now go do the thing all the fuckers were telling you you should go do rather in the Ryukhan Desert. And I actually had so we didn't actually finish off trying to get out of here. I had a really hard time because even when we started to talk about it, but yeah, that stairwell above the ice shield room on level 1, I didn't see that when I was going through the first time because I was so the door's on the bottom, so I didn't go to the top of the room. I didn't even see that stairwell there, and I didn't see it on the map. So yeah, I went through there, got the fucking floater, and then I was literally I got the fucking thing, and I'm like, you don't think about it until after you have your objective finished, but I got the floater, and I was literally standing in that little room of holes I don't know what to do now. I know that I can't get back to that right side of the first level, because of the way that works. You have to fall down the holes to get to that loop,
right?
Basically. So I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, I went down back into 3B and just started going down hallways and fucking bumping into mages and shit. That's all the more reason I can't believe I didn't find sorcerers if they're to be found in this cave, because I never once did. And I was just legitimately wandering around because I didn't know what the fuck to do. You said you pretty quickly and easily wanted. Oh, you were using the map with the things. Never mind. So
yeah. Pretty laid out in front of me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So yeah, I did eventually get out, but it was not the easiest and quickest thing. So from there, I went back to Crescent and saved, of course. Otherwise, it was pretty much just a straight shot to. And I was actually surprised.
You must have saved as soon as you got out of the fucking.
Oh yeah.
What did you call it? The lush field or what was it?
Yeah, the lush cove or grove, maybe cove.
Grove, that was it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, for sure. No, I busted off a house the second I stepped outside, for sure. Even though. Was anybody dead? I think someone might.
Yeah, if you're not doing that, you're an idiot because you have so much gold that you can't spend on anything.
Exactly, for sure. 100%. And so, yeah, I was actually surprised. I don't know. In my mind, this little desert where the airship was somewhere far away. And I was just shocked at how close it was to Crescent Lake, So, yeah, you just literally pop out. You go back to the little port there to the right of town. And you just, it's, I don't know, it's, literally counting the squares, 30 squares away, that river mouth where you gotta get out of, and yeah, you pop out into the canoe into the river, and then you can step off onto the land, and then there is it's like an enclosed mountain, or rather a desert enclosed by mountains, and there's a small pass on the south side that you can enter through to get in. And once inside, you just go to the item screen and use the floater, and the message: the airship begins to rise from the desert, which is cool.
Such cool imagery.
Yep, and it gives you the little "you did a thing" music cue here as well. And you exit the menu, and then when you get back to the overworld map, the airship it's not just there. And this is it's there's always this overworld map it goes without saying does not have a lot of functional things happening with it. So even though it's literally just 3 blinks of the airship sprite, I appreciate that they saw that they try to devise a way to make it significantly appear, you know what I mean? As opposed to just being there, was, to me, noticed and appreciated.
Yep. Kind of like loads in.
Right. And yeah, so you can just walk onto it and enter it by hitting A, which is, it's just a dumb functional thing, but it is the only one of the, like, you automatically get into the canoe when you step onto a river, of course. You automatically go into the ship when you step onto it off of a port. The airship can be walked over if you want. You know what I mean? You don't have to go into it, which is just an interesting little functional difference that maybe didn't have to be the case. But yeah, when you walk into this you go into this fucking thing, yes, you mentioned earlier, but there is a really peppy and unique tune that fires up. The Explorer's Handbook goes into it, but you can only land on grass or plain tiles with it, which I actually, I wrote, when I was writing this note, I wrote down, you can only land on desert, grass, or plain tiles, and then I was like, wait, I should go check that.
Yeah, definitely.
And sure enough, you cannot land on desert. Even though you find it in the desert, you cannot land on desert with it moving forward, so that's an interesting thing, too. And, I mean, I guess, yes, but I don't exactly understand why that's the case. Like, yes, sand is clearly not as dense of a thing, and like landing a heavy thing on it, if it sat there long enough, sure, it could sink, but I feel like you'd be fine. I just feel like you'd be fine. And I guess deserts do lend themselves to kind of creating a less than flat surface, kind of. I mean,
I think it's kind of also a physics thing. Like, I'm picturing like a helicopter and like,
yeah,
I'm not a fucking disclaimer, I'm not a helicopter pilot.
I'm not a helicopter pilot. If you guys think maybe I am, I don't know.
Having said that, like, I kind of understand how the physics work, and like you need like the force to go directly down, and if you're like a little cockeyed, like 1 degree off tilt, you're kind of like, you're pushing now not directly down, you're kind of pushing to the side, and even that little bit could probably fuck you up. I don't know, they probably didn't put that much thought into it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's almost certainly the answer, but clearly everything we say from the start of recording to end is semantics. Jab. That shouldn't be a detractor from sitting here and ruminating on theories.
I mean, there is this tidbit. We haven't been in the. I guess the reason we haven't done it is because we haven't technically opened it yet. But I have opened it. The strategy guide. There's like a little blurb about how that airship came to be there. Have you ever read that?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember it. But this is the perfect time to read it. So read it.
It's so cool. Okay. Okay. Hundreds of years ago, a great civilization in the north created magical objects that could do wondrous things. One of these objects was the floater stone. It was able to suspend gravity around a much larger object, say a castle or a ship. And indeed, with the power of the floater, the ancients built castles in the sky and flying ships. But 400 years ago, a terror appeared in the skies of the north. The wonderful ships and castles of men began dropping from the air like stones. Fearing that their magic would be utterly destroyed by this new force of evil, one brave band set out in the last remaining airship. They flew south to where the Fiend of the Wind had not yet come, and there they hid their great treasure. The airship was buried in the dunes of a scorching desert, while the floater that powered the ship was taken to a cave of ice. As the men made their way back north, they were lost at sea, as was their precious knowledge. That's so fucking cool. Man, that's such a fucking fantastic story.
That's great. And you know what? You're reading that, and I am thinking how bad we are shitting the bed by not having used that strategy guide to date yet. But yeah. I think it does open the door for doing what we talked about maybe doing, and that is kind of like a mini boss mag episode on that. Because we could go through, and I'm assuming there's a lot of those that we could go through.
Yeah, it's at the beginning of every chapter.
Right, and that's why I assumed you were reading. Yeah, one of the chapters starts there. So yeah, so we could go through and do go through what we've progressed through the game to those parts and cover those things and look at them from a revisionist perspective of how those story points fill into what we came to understand just by playing the game. You know what I mean? And not having those like really deep narrative explanations. And then move forward, obviously, with it as well, and pepper them in as we encounter them moving forward. But I think that, while it makes me a little sad that we haven't been hitting these narrative fucking notes each time we've hit that point in the story. It does create that possibility to do a mag.
I mean, honestly, we should just open the next episode, like, you know, because we got to do the next shit, and like I should just read the chapter intro, right?
Right, for each, moving forward,
going
for
forward,
sure.
and then we'll do the whole ass thing.
Right. What I'm thinking we should do is we should go light on what the game portion of the next episode is. Pick something that isn't, and I don't even know what it would be, because like I said, I told you I don't even know where to go next, so that's its own topic, I guess. But whatever the thing is, we should pick a smaller amount of work and do, like I said, like what would amount to a half mag ep, because we're not going to do the whole story. We are going to stop where we're at before we move into the game again. But doing the mag ep on that part of or doing a mag ep up to that point that's just covering, you know, the literature, you know what I mean? And just talk about the things, kind of looking back on like where we've been already to this point and how this story kind of fleshes out what we might have thought we understood or whatever, you know, just interpreting it in a revisionist perspective, I think is a really cool midpoint thing to do with this side quest.
I mean, you never know. They actually might have the NFT explanation in here.
They might cover NFTs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, you know, we should start minting NFTs of our side quest immediately also.
They're worth $1 billion, guys.
Yeah, they're $1 billion. Hit us up at isohpodcast@gmail.com if you want to buy our NFTs. We'll donate half the NFT proceeds to the Able Gamers Foundation without batting an eye.
No problem. I got $500,000 to spare.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, 500.
Yeah. Anyhow, to close us out here, status updates. Jay, talk to us about where Doom sits today.
Oh man! All right, Doom. He is level 21. He's still a black mage. No class changes or anything like that yet.
I wouldn't even have thought to mention that, but that's good that you mentioned that. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, with all the chatter on the Facebook page now, that's the next goal. I'm like, how can I do that?
You will do it soon, yeah. I assure you.
And it makes me happy that you also, by the way you say that, don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay, right. That's fucking awesome. Okay, cool.
I think I just like the back half of the game because like most of my favorite parts are coming up like right now.
Nice. Well, that makes me excited. So yeah, Doom the Black Mage at level 21. He has 116,761 XP. He has level 8 Strength, level 20 Agility, level 40 Intelligence, level 10 Vitality, and 19 Luck.
Okay.
Damage and hit percentage? Go do those as well.
Sure. Damage is a lowly 15. Hit percentage is 40. Absorb 16. And evade percentage is 66.
Oh my god.
It's bad if the thief guy's laughing at you.
Hey, he does damage with the spells though, so
yeah, for sure. Jab, how is Jab doing?
Jab as well. Let me get him up here. Okay, Jab is now a knight. He's not just a fighter. He's been blessed by his local lord. I don't know if there's a king that does that only. It doesn't matter. He's a knight now. And he's level 22. He's got 145,786 experience.
Wow.
Needs 2,222 for a level up. Thought that was cool. 41 strength, 25 agility, 9 intelligence, dumb as a stump, 25 vitality, 20 luck. His damage is a bone-crushing 43. Hit percentage 88. Absorb is 51, and evade is 30. Yeah, that steel armor is no fucking joke.
Ugh.
That steel armor is like endgame shit. Like I don't know. I actually don't know if there's a better armor.
The things that made me saddest inside of the numbers you guys have read were the experience numbers. When I tell you mine, when I tell you mine, you'll see why. And
17,000.
And then also, yeah, that absorb situation is just fucking. Oh my god, that's sexy.
One fighter is superior. I bet one fighter could beat 8 thieves.
I don't doubt. Fuck. There's no doubt in my mind that they're doing 1 to 2 damage on you. So
you think fucking carry was hard, buddy? Whew.
Right. Okay, so Todorino is at level 27. His experience tally is 260,032.
More than double.
I would say almost
points.
double. Well, you were.
And then what's crazy?
Right?
What's crazy about that for me is that's the amount of experience that you have multiplied by 4.
right.
I'm splitting all my experience 2 ways. He's splitting it 4 ways, and he blows me out of the water.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, guys. But
mine was 116, so yours is definitely more
116. I thought you said 160. Well, that makes me even fucking sadder, Jake. Jesus Christ. It is more than double, yeah. Ugh. Well, when I turn into ninjas, life's going to get so much better, guys. So much better.
You all laughed at me.
However I do that. And so my strength is 26, agility is 32, intelligence 19, vitality 17, luck 41. Ooh. Damage is 32, hit percentage is 72. That's the thing, 43 is a lot, Jab, but 32 is not that fucking far from 43. It's 3/4. I should be doing 3/4 of the damage on carry.
I'll check back in when I'm level 27.
So again, it's a matter. It's just got to be literally a matter of exponential math. That sorts that out. But absorb is 19, evade is 77%, and that is where the Totter finished things up. Todd. Do we? I don't want you to tell Jay or I how the class change happens. I know it's coming soon. And we haven't even opened that. That's the thing, too. It's fucked. There's no way to
read the guide and
not be told that. Yeah. Right. So maybe.
Why don't you not read the guide and then just ask around towns to figure out what the next step is?
Well, okay.
You got the fucking airship. You're gonna fly around and
check shit out, right? So
you'll see it. It'll come back to you, Jay. It might be different,
right? So here's what I propose. We actually do just functionally. So. Jab, you have the strategy guide. You know the strategy guide. You tell us a stopping point that isn't a spoiler. That's reasonable to pair with what is, and then also tell us a page number in the strategy guide that Jay and I can read up to that won't spoil anything going forward. Because like I said, that's what we should do. We should do what amounts to a half mag app. To do the pages up to where we're at in the story at the end of this recording, and then we will use after we play the game up to whatever story points you decide for us going forward. Once we hit those, then also we can check back in on the group chat, and you tell us the new page number to read up to, that we can then use that in our notes and do, make notes on our play notes essentially with the strategy guide. I think that's the way to do it, to not totally kill the exploratory aspect of the rest of the play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Okay. Jay, does that fucking
you just have to tell me where. I don't know where to go until you kind of tell me. So yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're saying.
Or where to not go. You're not going
to be told where to go to. We're going to get something. He's going to give us a plot point that when it happens to us, we just go, okay, we stop now. Okay. And it's going to be a plot point that he chooses that isn't spoilery. But still we can obviously discern when we hit it. So he's going to tell us that, and once that happens, he'll also give us a page number that we can then read up to. And have that be part of what we talk about in the next recording. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we don't look at that part between whatever page he gives us right now is what we can read up to right now. And that will be the first half of our notes for the next episode. Is we'll have essentially a mag app, like I said, a half mag app up to whatever that page number is, and then we play the game. I guess maybe is the way to do it, just as far as actual flow of all this work. Read the mag up to that, do our notes on that, then keep playing up to the point that Jab tells us to play to, and then look at the guide and, decide if we're going to talk about anything from the guide. for that next recording. Does that? I know that's fucking verbose as fuck, but
quite verbose. But I think I get it.
Right. Okay. So that thing, yes. So what's the? Can you do you want to talk about it later, or whether do you want to look at it and give us?
No, honestly, I think this is actually almost like an ideal time to institute such a policy, because I think the next stopping point is something that you guys are already aware of, though you're not sure how it happens.
Is it just a fiend?
That's just no, 'cause the class changes first.
And there's enough there for that in doing
that? Let me put it this way. The chapter itself is one picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially 4 pages of information. So the class change would go quick, but if we wanted to maybe so hear me out. If we wanted to maybe do a quick gameplay section, like we just do the class change, whatever that means, whatever that entails, and then the next episode we would spend some time talking about essentially the entire guide that we've missed up until this point, essentially half the book.
Right.
And then we would cover the very short playthrough, because it's only like...
Okay.
But
you're saying the stopping point, because like I said, the thing has to be, for you to give us spoiler-free stopping points, they have to be vague enough things that aren't spoilers, but also easily discernible enough on our behalf.
And that's class change. I mean, okay. A, you already know it. B, it's easy to discern. You've changed class.
Sure.
And
but
C,
there is some
once you change class, don't play anymore.
Right. But there is some shit to do. I mean, like...
Oh, yeah, there's definitely shit to do. Spoiler alert, there's a dungeon, but...
Okay, great then. Yeah, there's a dungeon, that's all we need. Great.
Yeah, there's definitely a dungeon. I mean, there's shit to do.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, that's it then. All right, great.
So we'll change class, which is not going to be a lot of work, but I mean, I don't know if you guys know where to go, so you might have to go around the world and talk to people and try to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so let's just do the class change, and then we'll go from there. Oh, and if you want to know what page you can read up to now, currently you can read up to page 46.
Cool.
No further.
All right. Word. Got that, Jay? Don't fuck it up.
I don't even think I have the strategy guide, so I got to get the strategy guide first of all. I don't think I even have that.
I said I would. You would have it in that Nintendo Power cache. That the strategy guides are in there.
Careful though, that's digital. You can blow right past 46.
Yep. Word. Okay. Cool. So we will do that then. You can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided whatever dumbass company that stirs up your pottery, and if you could, please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on whatever platform you listen to if you enjoy us talking about NFTs. And the website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com to price out the NFT offering that we'll be working on putting together for you. And you can follow the pod and banter with us on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the subreddit, and talk shit to us about our gameplay videos on the YouTube. The links to all those will be in the show notes, as they always are. And we do not have a Patreon, but if you'd like giving money to the things podcasters tell you to and would like to do so in our direction, the Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities, and that is cool as fuck. ablegamers.org is where you can find them. There are t-shirts on the website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers, but they're not as cool as our NFTs. And Jab, what are your socials?
There's a million assholes out there that you can talk to through social media, so talk to them.
Jay,
you're not going to talk to me.
Jay, what are your socials?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That is my gamer tag. There you go.
And you can find me on Twitter at Josh Folan, on Instagram at MyShiftKeyIsBroke, and my Oculus tag is MyShiftKeyIsBroke. Okay, bye.
See, I told you there's a bunch of assholes out there you could talk to.